I like this. This camera puts on 10 cameras.
Yeah.
Or more.
Which camera is it? Down or down?
Right now, I'm looking at this one up here. It's recording. Okay. Ready? Okay. Greenwich Township Committee, February 18th, 2016. Members present: Adams.
Here.
Kenyak.
Here.
Marqueta.
Here.
Varsity.
Here.
Spencer.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act by mailing the schedule of the Township Committee to the Express Times and North Star Ledger newspaper, posting a copy on the Township Bulletin Board, and filing a copy with the Township Clerk. Okay.
Executive session litigation, police chief, Novak versus Greenwich, contract negotiations, Warren County PBA Local 280, deputy police chief contract, and we're going to add police personnel for the advertisement of a patrol officer.
Motion?
I like it. Second?
Adams?
Yes.
Kenyak?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Varsity?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
Return to PA. I'm going to turn on the fan.
That we're live.
What do you got? You got gold?
And just like back to the dry.
Okay, yeah.
It's more annoying than they're hooked on a low
Tissues here, man.
Yeah, got some over there. No, I don't yet. No.
No, I'm not.
Not yet. I'm not trying to.
I'm not leaking. I'm not leaking. No.
I'll let you know if you're leaking.
Just let's make that lease that we have,
Yeah.
agreement letter, just make it look good, just you sign it and have it.
We have to open up, we didn't open up the meeting, did we?
We're going to make, as soon as everything's in here, we'll have a executive session. And then start the
Did they figure out what caused that fire up there in Harmony?
Electrical, they had
Was it
a
electrical?
tree fell down on the power lines up there, and when the KCP&L went into the shop, turned the power back on, there's spark the whole place.
So I guess JCP&L is the responsible.
I don't know.
I heard a lot of trucks for
Had to shut it down.
man.
Tim, you want to sign this too? Did Jim sign this too?
No. Joe. Joe next.
Or Joe?
Yeah, you sign off and then Joe next will sign off.
Yeah, you signed it and then Joe.
Okay, a motion to close executive session.
I'll make it.
Second.
Regular meeting of the Greenwich Township Committee, February 18th, 2016. All rise for the flag salute.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, executive?
Can we vote it in here?
Roll call, Councilman Kenya,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Marqueta,
Here.
Parsney,
Yes.
Spencer.
Yes. All right, tonight we have the, agreement for sale and purchase of real estate by and between the Township of Greenwich and the Stewartsville Volunteer Fire Company.
Do you want to do a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion to adopt the,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Any discussion? Roll call. Kenya,
Yes.
Parsney,
Yes.
Marqueta,
Yes.
Parsney.
Yes.
Who am I missing?
I only get one
Adams.
vote, don't I?
Adams.
Kenya.
No, I was the first one.
Okay, discussion.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, yeah.
So all we need is some money?
That was the motion to adopt the agreement for sale and purchase of the real
Right.
estate by and
You
between
looking for that
Township of
dollar bill?
Greenwich and the Stewartsville
Really?
Volunteer Fire.
Gotta do the,
Yeah, so,
Commissioners check.
So we need a signature and
left
where's
Joe
Chief?
to sign the agreement.
Okay.
And you guys can come up, however you want to set this up. You guys can,
He does.
you guys want to go down there? Somebody grab that. Yeah.
You ask him just, the mayor and deputy?
Yeah, this one done, we're going to take pictures for the,
What address?
we're taking pictures for the website. And then the guys should come up there too.
If they want to.
You guys want to come up? You guys want to come up real quick? Those signs it?
Art somebody owes us a buck, you owe us $100,000.
There you go.
I got the buck. I think he's got it.
Goes for the fire company and talk to you after getting $100,000.
Send your signs. Check.
There you go.
Congratulations, Joe. I'm glad I could be here when this happened.
Congratulations, guys. Congratulations.
Good.
That ride.
Did they take pictures before the whole shovel?
Not yet, we will.
But I only
You guys all lined up holding
Hey,
shovels?
yes, good, good. Congratulations, Mr. Maxey. Can we get a whole picture with everybody?
If you had done this originally, we'd probably be here more burning the mortgage. 20 years is fine, right?
You want like a whole picture part and then
Come on back.
I turned it off.
Yeah, maybe. About people.
first photo that's gonna hang in the firehouse.
You want us to
Any words from the chief? Does Joe want to speak about it?
Joe,
Joe, if you want to say anything. Now? All right.
There's
We got a lot of work.
All right, Joe.
cake on the punch. There's cake over at the firehouse if anybody wishes to have a piece of cake for the ceremony. It's over there.
It'll be a quick meeting. Okay, so let's handle now the motions.
Okay.
Coming out of executive.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the labor attorney, James Pfeiffer, to take action and proceed with action as discussed in executive session.
I'll second that.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Marson?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes. And I'd like to make a motion for Attorney Piper to, as discussed in executive session on the other matter.
Second. I second it. Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Marson?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
Moving along.
Really?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Piper.
Do we want to keep Mr. Piper here for the second round, that we didn't complete all the tasks? And I see there's some personnel kind of
We
thing.
just went over a couple things with, attorney.
Yeah, that's good.
Thanks, Jim.
Good night.
All right, public comment?
You gonna make a motion?
Nate.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Public comment. Public comment, anybody want to make any public comments at all?
Gentlemen, Bob Beckerson, Clean Communities Coordinator and Recycling Coordinator for Greenwich Township. Currently, Greenwich Township does not have an electronics recycling program in place. The state's going to actually pass legislation mandating such a program in the coming year. But in order to mitigate that, I'm suggesting and requesting the ability to collect electronic waste at our recycling center behind the old school. We have identified an organization called Sustained Abilities of Warren County. I believe you all have that brochure. It lists what they will take and the charge for television monitors and data destruction that is also required. And that's one of the issues that we need to resolve, is how to collect that $20 fee for television. We could then get the company, get the sustainability, would then come here and pick up the electronics, whatever gets recycled, they bring it to Washington, New Jersey, where they weigh it. We get credit for the tonnage that goes into our annual report to the state for the electronic waste, and we presumably will get a commission on the fees collected for the televisions and computer CRTs and so forth. They also collect everything else that might be considered small electrical appliances and home appliances and so forth. But so the first question is to ask permission to pursue such a program at our recycling center, which is currently collecting recyclable waste once a month. And the second part of that would be to establish some fee collection mechanism to allow payment of fees for the disposal of the television and other fee-required electronics that are disposed.
Where fees required, could you just have them write a check out directly to Abilities and we can collect it, and then,
Yeah, well, we can do it that way. I mean, we don't have to pay them directly for each individual piece. We could pay them for the lot that goes to them when they pick it up. But we do need to have them pay for it.
Yeah, they may be bringing cash.
yeah, but, I mean, Abilities is not for profit, and they do a pretty good job of it. It's not that much money. I don't know if I'd be so against to let them take the money.
Well, they are.
You know, well, and he said they're gonna give some money back, but I don't think it's gonna be that substantial,
If
and
you don't want the money, that's your
I'm wondering why, that's why I'm saying maybe just have them cut the check directly into Abilities.
We still collect on the tonnage of that
Yeah.
material.
Correct,
We
yeah.
get credit for the tonnage, for the electronic waste. And again, I failed to mention this, it used to be facilitated, this type of waste was facilitated at Best Buy. As of February 1st, Best Buy was no longer collecting electronic waste.
All right. Well,
What are you looking for, a motion or something tonight?
Yeah, I'm looking for authorization, yeah.
The next step would be to establish this ability at our recycling center, and I'm looking for authorization to do said.
Yeah.
I think if you guys are okay
And
with
then will
it.
you develop policy on how to handle the money?
policy.
Get back to
Well,
us on that,
I
or?
could work with Kim and whatever to get some program established on how we will collect fees and
Yep.
whatever
And what
else.
about the storage until they come and pick it up? We
A little
have,
shed,
we do have a shed there? Okay.
a little shed. When we have our general waste cleanup, as in May of this year, the sustainabilities said they would drop the van off there, and we just fill up the van and they'll drive it
Okay.
away Monday morning. So that's not an issue for that
Okay.
one, but any other, we could wait to accumulate a substantial, or at least a worthwhile amount of it for them to come and pick it up. Or I could throw it in the back of my truck and drive it there. I mean, it's not-
And Kathleen, how would you like to see the money handled?
I prefer what he was saying about the check to Abilities, because I really don't want it running through
Okay.
Greenwich's finances.
I think it's cleaner that way, right?
Yep.
All right, so
Does that mean we're gonna collect the fee, or we're not gonna collect the fee? for the
Well,
electronic?
we could collect it, but the check, we probably, when you put out your notifications to them that when they bring those items, they must accompany a check made out to Abilities of Warren County, I think it is, or Northwest Jersey.
Yeah.
And then you could collect that, we
Okay.
could turn it into Kim or whatever to get them word, when you're gonna drop off the things, you know,
Okay. So check or money order.
Right.
Credit
right,
card.
may not.
No credit cards or cash.
I'm just thinking advertising that way, that for those items, they must accompany with that.
so we need a motion?
Yeah, we'll come out and come out of public and then
Yeah,
we'll
well-
motion.
Yeah.
Right.
Give them like a ticket stub or something, so that when they go up to the recycling center to drop it off, the worker there knows.
Yeah, you're gonna have to coordinate with Joe, because Joe's crew is the one that's there, right,
Well, they're
Joe?
there, but
Yeah.
now, sustainability would be coming here to pick it up, or I'd be dropping it off there, and you,
And what, Joe, what Saturday, is the third Saturday of the month, or?
yeah.
All right, so you can coordinate something with
Yeah.
him.
I don't think it's-
Well, hang on, so from the perspective of the person trying to get rid of their junk, they gotta come here to get a
Tag
tag, then take the tag with their junk to,
to the yard.
Recycling.
But
spot.
they would be paying sustainability.
Yes.
Yes,
right.
so Kim's gonna so Kim then
I'll
coordinates
coordinate
the,
with Kathleen and Joe, and we'll have this all.
the check.
So if you
Check
come
and stuff.
here.
Well, I don't think you need to coordinate with Kathleen, because
No,
there's nothing to do with the township.
I'm not coordinating.
no.
You know, so I personally think that they should just bring the check on the third Saturday of the month and give it to whoever's
Well,
there.
that's what we're discussing, do they bring the check to Kim, or do they bring the check to
No,
the
keep the
guy
township
on
out of it.
Saturday?
No, we don't want the guy on Saturday taking.
No.
You don't want the guy on
You
Saturday
want
picking
to
up.
take it here, and then get the receipt, and
They'll
then
get
take
a
it down
ticket,
there.
and then when they go
control.
up there on the third
So
Saturday.
it's micromanaging again, that's our problem in this
This
town.
way the guy up there knows it's paid for, just
Yeah.
like what we do.
We'll discuss the procedures, not during public comment. Well, that's a couple of under you, right?
I might even agree with you on that.
Oh, my.
Okay.
Thanks,
Chuck.
Chuck.
Hey, here's 25.
When we come out of public comment, if you guys have a motion.
Yeah, we'll come out,
Thank you.
thanks a lot.
So, yes, to go ahead with it.
Yeah, we're going to get a motion with public comment.
Is there anybody else here, Sue?
Sue Fleming, 238 Richland Hill Road. I was checking out the township's website tonight to see what the agenda might be, but since it wasn't posted, I was surprised there. But I was surprised with some of the other things that were on there. There's still the report under the police department that was prepared by Blue Line Consulting a year ago. This report was prepared by the hitman that was hired by a group of vindictive committee people and paid for with our tax dollars. Where is the report from the prosecutor's office? How come that's not on the website? Don't want the public to see the truth? That should be on there too. So, the website is serious. There's a letter on there dated July 15th, 2015, penned by our former mayor, filled with lies and misinformation. Why is that still on there? Go to the court site, and it says, quote, all tickets are now payable at the Greenwich Township Missile Building, 321 Greenwich Street, Stewartsville. I certainly hope that's not true. I hope they're not making any payments here, because that'll be more money unaccounted for. The mission statement, that's another joke. So it certainly wasn't taken seriously by any of the committee members from the past 3 or 4 years. Jim, you have not accomplished any of the 4 values: integrity, transparency, fiscal responsibility, quality service. You still being on the committee is a joke, too. You need to be held responsible for all the bad decisions that you made and that you went along with your other friends.
Is there anybody else wishing to do public comment?
With regards to that,
We can
I think-
we can have a public comment.
well, we just talked about Pops, all right. that's
Yeah, no,
fine.
that was something, yeah.
All right, all right.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I want to make a couple.
Yeah, okay.
Frank Lasker, 1701 Union Valley Drive. Just have a few requests from the Township Committee. It's from the Historical Commission. Number one, the old school. One of the things that we would like to see something get done. But if we do anything with the old school, if we do whatever you decide, what we'd like to do is just have it in compliance with the Secretary of the Interior of Standards. If you are going to allow it to be stayed, to stay the way that it is. That's what we're asking for. And if you could also, maybe for the Historical Commission, give us a place in the basement, if we can make it a public as well as private consideration. That's all we're asking for, not much. Okay? And then we do have one other thing. We want to look at a project, which is, the old mill. There's a graphite mill. And we just found out this past week that it's owned by the town. Like the...
Fred, where is that?
It's on
Right by the falls. Right by the falls.
I got it, I know the bill, yeah. I know where it is, yeah.
So we found out you guys do own it, we as a community own it.
No, it's not right.
I thought Asbury Graphite's no longer there.
They do.
It's,
There's a tax lien on it.
Hold on,
There's a tax lien that the town has on it, so that has
Oh,
not
no,
been...
okay, so it's not that far yet.
No, I was just talking to Kim about that today, so
Oh.
that's about the extent of my knowledge at this point, but I'll be finding out more.
Oh, okay. Well, if it does get into your hands, one thing that we want to see if it's all possible, that there is some, to see if there is anything of historical significance. We understand that there is some equipment. I have some pictures here. Now, that's a couple years ago, and some of that is from Thomas Edison way back. So we just want to see if there's, if it does get in your hands, that we, can maybe use some of that.
Okay.
To preserve it instead of having it go to waste. All right? That's
Thank
all
you.
I have, was something good.
That's correct.
thanks, Greg.
Is there anybody else wishing to public comment? Make a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll make the motion for requesting DPW to collect, or, I'm sorry, for us to collect the electronics equipment with a process to be determined by the township clerk and CFO. Let them work out the details.
Yes.
Bill?
Yes. I think I seconded it, but it doesn't matter.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Horstman?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
I think you want
Can I
to...
address that now?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
So, no,
Yeah.
I mean, to me personally, I think she makes a good point, that report's been on there a long time, and I don't think it needs to be on there any further. So I'm okay with removing it from the website at this point.
Well, I personally like to see the report that the Department of Justice did back in 2009, saying that we needed 14 police officers. And here we are 7 years later, and we're down to 8. So I think that report should be put on that. Yeah.
Pastor's office report on there?
Do we, who is the webmaster for us? Who takes care of that? I don't even know.
Chicago.
Well, that's another problem, something, halfway across the country.
Who handles, whose responsibility is it up there?
Isn't on there?
Jim, you would know, historically.
It's Cindy Carrigan. So Cindy Carrigan has been our webmaster for quite some time.
Yeah.
And,
Who
you know,
should be in contact with her as far as putting...
technology, it fell under technology.
It's under Will, it's under you.
Yeah, and the fact that she's in Chicago really has no bearing. It's a phone call or email.
Cindy's going to be, we're going to send a report to her to put on the website.
Why don't you just a report? I mean, I would go through everything and take all the data, information, and, everything.
Make sure it's updated.
I'd like to comment on this as well. So, that report, the residents of the township paid for that report. And in the spirit of true transparency, that report and any other report that you deem necessary should be up on the web. We should not be hiding anything from our public.
The question is how long?
Well, hang on.
Yeah.
As you know, these issues are still ongoing. So I feel it is necessary not only to keep that information up there, you want to add on to it, fine, get it organized and laid out correctly and put up there.
Right, so
That's fine.
we'll get it up there, and it's going to be
Just
adjusted.
add the other stuff in.
Yeah, and I do want to make another
And,
comment, because Ms. Fleming, all I will say here is that Ms. Fleming was the former acting court administrator who was let go, and I believe all of her comments are pretty much with an axe to grind against me and a personal attack. And quite frankly, if you look at the letter that's up there, you will see everything that we did was for the benefit of Greenwich Township. In addition to that, well, I gave you your time to speak, please. In addition to that, it was the first time in Greenwich history that we have moved forward with a capital improvements project. You see improvements not only behind us, you see them out on the sewer streets, on the streets. Dumont Road, Joe and his staff have taken that on and really made things start to happen here.
All right, thank you very much. Public comments closed. The webmaster is going to be addressed tomorrow with regards to the issues that were presented. Payment of bills?
So we'll see the prosecutor's report on there, and
Yes.
we'll get that 2009
And
report
we'll
up
try to
there.
get any other past reports or any other information.
agenda's on there in a timely fashion?
We will do our best to take care of that, too.
We have a resolution governing that, or we should have a resolution governing the timing of.
Well, we're approving the minutes
Okay.
tonight, so I'd imagine November should be up there this week, so,
We'll be up there by the end.
or whatever
Well,
one's...
there's January, I think, is what's being referenced.
Once they're adopted, they're closed.
I'm not going to hear approving in November, do we even get to November?
November
That's
7th.
the issue.
All right. Payment of bills, right?
Right. Nothing to total amount.
Yeah, I want to remove the, with OBE dash, or OBE 01, Barry Overley meal allowance, $30. That was discussed previously.
Got it.
All right, you guys have any questions on the
Let
bill?
me need a second before we can have discussion. So, did somebody make a motion?
No one's made a motion.
No, I wasn't
You
gonna
making that as a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All right, now we can discuss.
Yeah.
I got a couple of bills here that concern me. We're paying close to $20,000 a year for 16 cell phone lines, 25 phone lines, another phone line, and another company, Pacific Telemanagement Service. I think it's time that, personally, cell phone use should be totally eliminated. There's no reason that any employee, unless it's maybe a police chief or something like that, should have that. For 15 years, I've worked with the FCC auditing schools across the country, and constantly I see cell phone bills for $40,000, $50,000 a month for huge school districts. I can almost guarantee you that the cell phone use here is not all for township use, as I see with schools across the country. But when you look at it, $20,000 in phone bills, I think we really need to do an audit of each phone bill, see how much is being used for personal use versus township use, and either charge the people appropriately or eliminate it and have them get their own cell phones, and we will pay the portion, which is hardly anything, on a cell phone bill, because everything is pretty much included in the monthly fee of $39. I just think we're paying way too much money.
How many does the township own, do you know?
I counted on one bill 16 cell phone bills. I don't even think we have 16 employees, so, you know.
We have
Yeah.
about 40.
Yeah, it's the DPW.
You know, so,
and the police department.
why are we giving the police department
Are we gonna find
phone?
Why?
Yeah.
We need it, so-
Okay. Yeah, we got radios, and they can use their own phone if they have to make a call.
And then what, go back to us?
If so be it. You know, what I'll do is I'll request an audit of each phone bill, and I'll see how many personal calls are made on those phones. And I don't think you want me to open up that can of worms. But I'm tired of paying $795 a month,
Right.
$725 a month for 25 lines coming into this building.
It seems excessive.
Building, there's 14 phone lines.
Okay, let's get a breakdown.
All the
Yeah.
different departments.
And the rest is the internet.
If you guys are happy
Yeah.
paying $20,000 a year in phone bills.
No, I think we should at least get a list of what phones we have, who has them, and what
Yeah.
purpose. You know, I think what we need to do is
Let's do an
understand who
audit,
has
let's find out more information.
What's that?
Let's find out
Let's
get more
how many
information.
how many are here, who they're
We
assigned
have
to.
16
and
cell
what the
phones. Let's start with the
purpose
cell
of that.
phones.
Start there and work your way down.
And see what the bills are and what our monthly fees are. What's the breakdown for the monthly fee for phone? Are we on a group rate plan or what?
It's all different. It's all
All right,
different.
so we'll look into it, do like a little audit.
Yeah, and I don't know, but there's something with the police and a special.
You can't, yeah, you can't.
There's one or
you
two
can't
things
do
that are
an
special
audit.
there that we should.
Right, yeah, no, I can understand that.
But I think it's a worthy effort to go through and
See what
understand.
happens.
You know, zero-based budgeting, I think we've talked about that somewhere along the way.
What's next on
This is how you start.
There's a check for Joe Mexi, $7,000, and I know there was a payroll issue. So, can we have a discussion on that? Yeah, I don't, where was the mistake? Who did the mistake,
It started back in mid-2014 when the town switched over to ADP payroll services. I don't know why, but it was set up that he had $200 coming out to go to his personal savings account. And then for whatever reason, an additional $200 was being deducted, but never sent anywhere. So that has accumulated since mid-14. So it's sitting in your payroll agency account, it's not coming out of the budget.
Right, yeah, I
or anything
understand
like
that.
It's just
Okay.
money owed back to Joe.
So what happened? We were paying, Joe wasn't getting.
Well, I think we're going too far into this.
Yeah,
Because I think
that's
some reason we might want to,
personal
for his
stuff.
protection, go into,
Yeah.
discuss that.
All right, as long as, it looked to me like it was a tip, but who made the mistake, and, so,
Mistakes done was
Okay.
fixed, and you give him check for $7,000.
okay. Life insurance, the patrolman that left us, he's offered as of,
He's going to the-
it should be as of 2/1, he left us at 2/1. Okay.
Life, health, and all that.
Well,
And-
he gets to stay on for the
30
month
days.
of February, I believe.
Okay.
For health insurance perspective.
Right.
Joe, thank you for looking into the garbage disposal. Saving $150, $120 a month, adds up, so appreciate it. That's it.
Okay.
I'm gonna abstain from one $50 bill. It's my next door neighbor, and I don't wanna have to explain to the DCA why I voted for my neighbor to get, I don't know what the number is, but
No, it's...
somebody ran over his mailbox during one of the plowing, so I'll recuse myself from Amos's $50 check.
Motion from Bill and second from Bill. Is it a roll call? Mr. Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
I have to abstain. I have not had a chance to adequately go through this list.
Okay. Orson?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes. Motion for the,
Yeah, you can do one motion.
okay. To make a motion to approve the minutes for the November 12th, 2015 regular meeting and December 17th, 2015 regular meeting.
Can we break them apart?
We're going to do
Just November.
November. Make a motion to do November's approval of the minutes for the regular meeting. And executive?
A second.
And executive.
That's for regular and
And
executive?
regular and executive.
For November 2nd, okay, I'll make that motion.
November 12th.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Is this for both regular and
Regular and
executive?
executive.
Because I didn't see the executive for November. Not my packet.
December executive's not in it. It's in there. November is not.
So November,
Not
yeah,
November,
so,
no.
Remove November.
Make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes for November 12th, 2015.
Okay. We'll make a motion.
Second.
This is just
For the regular meeting.
Regular November, 12th, yes,
Kenya?
yes.
Adams?
regular November
12th.
Yes. Marqueta?
Was not on the committee, I abstained.
Orson?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Mayor?
And make a motion for the December 17th, 2015 regular and executive session minutes for the meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion? So, in the December meeting, a personnel matter was brought up at the last moment before going into executive session by the clerk, and she waived her right to have it held in public session. Those facts were omitted from the regular December 17th minutes.
That's incorrect.
I'll continue. She discussed several matters before the full Township Committee in the executive session for about 15 minutes. And it just seemed to be a conflict of interest for the Township Clerk to draft minutes for her own executive session personnel matter. And the executive session minutes don't reflect any factual statements as to what actually occurred during the executive session.
Did you want them detailed as to what was said in the executive session to you?
I'm just merely pointing out the fact that the minutes, in my opinion, are not approvable, and I think we need a third party to review those minutes, or to draft those minutes. I don't think it's appropriate for, not you, Kim, but you're raising a personnel issue.
There is a point.
You shouldn't be able to write your own minutes.
Well, I mean, it's up to the committee, but
These
the
are
clerk is in charge,
official
with
minutes from the meeting.
drafting minutes. The minutes you folks have obviously vote on those, so if there's something you think is missing and you want something changed in there, you could certainly add them or hold off on them, and if anybody has comments or things that they think were said can be added to it, that's fine.
Attorney Carney was here at the time. Attorney Tadeo had a personal matter and could not be here. Attorney Tadeo is both a township attorney and labor at the time. So personnel matter with him present in the room would make sense. We had Attorney Carney here, and I would feel that he would be the appropriate one to draft those minutes for that section of the executive session.
Again, that's a committee decision. The minutes are just supposed to reflect very basically what was, if there was a motion made, so-and-so made the motion, it was seconded, this was the vote. So that's a committee decision. I think, like I said, the clerk's charged with,
I understand your point, Jim, but are we asking for more detail on this one issue from executive session than we do on any other issue? I mean,
Well,
any notes are acceptable.
Well, it's a
From executive session.
15-minute, 10 to 15 minutes, all right? And
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but
I believe,
So something just
I believe the minutes should
I
reflect
think
what was
you and I
done.
have gone round and round for 15 minutes, and there's no way she could keep track of that.
Well, yeah, but those are committee
Yeah.
issues. It's not a personnel matter where there's a potential issue. And I think in terms of, reducing overall exposure,
So you want the
You should
whole
have a
thing dictated?
well, no, absolutely not. No.
Just say
Here's what I think we need to do. Let's table these, reach out to Attorney Carney and have him draft the minutes. I'm not drafting them.
Just for that part of the
Just for the executive session part, and then we
Listen,
come back and do it next
But
month.
if it's just a synopsis as to what was held in the executive session, why do we have to postpone it
You don't
I
want to
think what
adopt
Jim
these
is
minutes as
saying,
is.
there's the appearance, not that there is, there's an appearance of a possible conflict. So, listen, it's not a big deal. I think, let's take away the appearance and just, I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed
Save them for
to,
next month. Let's
Yeah.
write the 2 or 3 sentences that needs to be added, and then,
yeah.
All right, then we'll do it.
So we have to,
Approve the December
Okay.
regular meeting?
The December
The
regular...
motion's out there, so
Yeah.
we gotta do the
Right,
right.
so you just vote no.
So I'm going to do a roll call vote. Campion?
no.
Adams?
No.
Marqueta?
I'm sorry, motion again was what? To,
To adopt both of them.
no.
No.
Marson?
No.
Spencer?
No.
Make a motion to adopt the regular minutes.
Motion.
Second.
I know that, well, my stance was covering both regular and executive. I thought that's what
Why,
What was the, what was on the regular?
I don't think it indicated that she waived her rights.
I think that was said before we went into executive session.
And that's
And that's
correct.
also, that's also,
That needs to be in the
but Jim, it's on
regular.
video too.
No, I thought it was before we went in.
Guys,
You went through it?
out the facts.
Okay. I thought it was said in
So
public,
can,
so.
we can
It
vote, we
was
can
said
vote
in
on that
public, Bob,
adjustment.
and that's what White
We
needs to be
can
in.
vote on adding that particular
I was just
adjustment.
thinking, can we put that
Let's put it
line
in.
into this minute, into the motion?
I'll go with that, if you want, yeah, I'll go for that. So amend the motion to add that statement that...
That Kim waived her-
Ms. Buscemi waived her rights
Her rights to a public session to enter into...
Ms. Buscemi waived her rights notice before we went into executive session. Just add that to the motion.
Okay, so we'll make a motion to seconded to adopt December 17th.
Yes.
Roll. Kenny?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes, as amended.
Yes.
Marson?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
We get resolution, okay, so.
Yeah, I don't have that resolution.
Okay, what page is that resolution in on the tax lien?
Tax lien is...
Tab what? 4?
4.
Okay.
First one is 40, and then right after, 37.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 2016-37, tax lien redemption, redemption of tax liens.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Parsons?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes. Do you have this next one?
It's number 40.
Oh, I'm sorry,
First one on tab 4.
All you know.
Motion to accept resolution number 2016-40, New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, FY15.
No, I'm sorry. That's part about,
That's yours?
under section of the agenda now.
Yeah, okay.
And
Sorry
here's
about
the
that.
resolutions. Okay. I'm gonna take one, pass them down. Take one of these. And one of these.
Resolution 2000.
I printed them out. I had forwarded these, I received them today from Attorney Labor. The first one is 38, and then the second one is 39.
What's the first?
First one is 38, the cell phone one?
That's
First one's 38?
Here's one.
This is 30. This is 30.
Cell phone is 38.
That was 39?
Now, with resolution number 39, well, I'll bring that up once we make a motion.
All right, we're gonna introduce introduce to adopt resolution number 2016-38, resolution of the Township of Greenwich, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, creating a policy regarding the Township Committee's use of cell phones during township meetings. Whereas proliferation of cell phones allows an individual to be available 24 hours a day, and the Township Committee finds that the use of cell phones during Township Committee meetings is not only distracting to the committee, but distracting to the public's perception of the committee. Therefore, it is the Township's Committee's desire to enact a policy requiring that all cell phones be put away during the course of the Township Committee meetings, and the Township Committee recognizes that in case of an emergency or other extenuating circumstances, there may be times when individuals will be required to leave their cell phones on the dais. These exceptions will be decided on a case-by-case basis. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Greenwich, all cell phones are to be put away during township meetings. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the Township recognizes that there may be times when extenuating circumstances requiring the committee person to have their phone in front of them on the dais. Motion, right? Need a motion to adopt resolution number 2016-38.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, what does put away mean?
Yeah. I was gonna ask that same question.
Well, I'll tell you this, the reason I put that in there was because you can have it in your pocket, it's not supposed to be on the desk. You can, if you're texting or whatever, you want to put it in your briefcase. I didn't want to start saying it had to be
Yeah.
placed securely, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what, we can put in there whatever you desire to put in there, but it just, I think the purpose is not to have it in front of people, not to have people texting.
Okay.
So, I mean, just basic professional guidelines in terms of dealing with your cell phone.
Correct. And the
Bring it
thing-
in, mute it, be done with it.
Right, and the
Turn it
thing
off,
is,
turn
there
it
may
away.
be a thing where if somebody's got a family member that's in the hospital, something else, you tell the committee, hey, listen, I gotta have everything in front of me, or my son's gonna be done with practice, I gotta run out, or whatever. And,
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
another reason too, it's that, we can put in there whatever you desire to put in there, but it just, I think the purpose is not to have it in front of people, not to have people texting.
Okay.
if you have your personal cell phone, right, you would think that if you were texting somebody or sending in a meeting, because normally, like, people have kids, somebody sends them something, hey, I'll be out, whatever, in an hour. I had to take the position, and I've had a couple of these cases come up recently in other towns, where people have Oprah'd somebody's private cell phone for their text messages done, performed during the meeting. My personal opinion is, and legal opinion is that, well, wait a minute, that's like having a private conversation out in the hallway. You know what, as long as they're not conducting township business, it's really nobody's business, it's their personal cell phone. The GRC, there's a couple opinions out there where they're sometimes requiring the production of that. So I think if you're going to see in a couple of years where those aren't going to be required, I mean, I hope that that's not the case, but there seems to be a trend in that direction. So I think it's also, first of all, just not having it in front of you is probably a good thing. And number two, if you're doing that, it's, somebody can Oprah it and potentially try to get that information. And again, it can be completely personal. Like I said, I don't see the difference between that and, a private conversation in the hallway with somebody. So,
And what is the overall scope? Is it Township Committee? Is it Township Committee professionals? Is it, you guys? Is it the whole audience?
Well,
What's the
you
scope?
can tell us at any time to put, this is just regulates the Township Committee, this is just for the Township Committee.
Well, I mean, one of the issues that you cite in here is that it's distracting to the Township Committee, okay? All right. So, I mean, we've had some conversations with the phones ringing and, all the different ringtones here and all that stuff. And quite frankly, I'd love to come in here and just turn the things off.
During the township meeting, we're just put them away.
Well, I think you want to approach it as more...
No, I think I'm going to approach it this way and say that we're doing it this way as to put it in your pocket, put it in your briefcase, put it somewhere other than the township table, and that's what we're doing.
Oh, well, you can dictate that,
I can.
okay? Last time I checked, this was a democracy.
Which I understand, but this is
Well,
what we're trying
apparently
to
you
do.
don't,
We're not
because
trying
you're
to have
just
a big
dictating
piece.
to me what you want to do.
That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to
I
say,
think, well, if you
to
hear
set
me
the
out,
standard for everything.
if you hear me out, I might come up with a better solution, all
Well, that's my
right?
solution. But I'll hear you out anyway.
Well, thank you. So, from my perspective, it is distracting up here when you're dealing with cell phones and whatnot, even from the audience. And I would fully support the room. Hey, you come in, mute your phones. Just sit, mute your phones, no texting. And that's it. That's a general, applies to everybody in the room. And it's not just specific to specific individuals.
Well, it's going to be specific to us up here at the days, so that way we have our phones put away. We don't, 2 hours, we're going to put them away. And we're done with them. So we're not up here texting and doing that stuff during a meeting.
I think you're micromanaging the committee. Does it apply to the professionals?
We're doing it up here because we're the ones projecting our image out right now to the
Well,
public.
what about our professionals?
You can tell us, we can't direct, you can direct us to put our cell phones away.
Oh, I know.
You can do
I
that,
know.
right? But
What
I'm
about
just saying, and they can't offer my phone, they can offer your phones.
Yeah.
They're-
I mean,
they-
I'm trying
Our
to-
phones are the ones that are...
Is
that
the
are
clerk's phone as well
right now.
included in this?
We're up here at the dais, that's not in the
Well,
percentage, is it correct?
Yeah,
It should be generic. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Committee has a resolution in front of it, the committee can either vote it up or vote it down.
Yeah,
As far
we're
as
gonna-
like,
we're
I'm
gonna-
concerned, I'm concerned that
There's a
the
motion out there
can
for
tell
it,
us
correct?
to not have our cell phones.
This pertains, I guess, pretty much to us.
Right.
I don't have a problem holding us to a higher standard.
We're a higher standard.
Well, and I have no problem telling an employee to put their phone away if it's distracting them. And we can develop policy, actually, to cover the employee. We don't need a resolution
To do it.
or an ordinance to do it. We can do that by policy. So, I think this resolution is affecting us up here, and nobody else.
That's it.
You've already indicated some acceptance of it, that you said you have no problem putting the phones away for. I don't know what we're splitting hairs for up here.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Well, I mean, you can say what you want, but I'm just, I just want to move on.
Couple comments here. So apparently, this was distracting to someone, that's why this came up, right? So, and then a resolution was crafted without any prior discussion of whether or not we wanted to move forward on a resolution. I think we could have handled it a better way, which would have been, bring it up for discussion, let's see how we all want to go ahead and handle it, and then decide if we even need a resolution. To me, do we really need a resolution to have professional conduct up here? I think that the people are going to hold us accountable for whatever we do. If somebody thinks that we're not being professional, I think you'll hear about it, and you're going to be the one looking bad. I don't think we need to have a resolution to act professional. I don't see anybody here
that I think acts unprofessional. Maybe at times, and maybe this is a warning shot, that some people have been on their phones, but to have a resolution, well, we could have probably just had a quick discussion, say, hey, if you got a message from your wife and it's an emergency during a meeting, step outside. Don't take it here. Don't do any phone texting or answering a message while you're on the dais. Take it in the hallway. I don't think there are going to be many people on this committee that are going to go in the hallway 10 different times to take different messages. I just think listen, it sounds like you guys are all for this. I don't know. I'll vote for it. I don't care. The issue is, though, do we want to be in a black hole during this meeting? These meetings can run till midnight sometimes.
They do.
Right, so you want your family not to be able to get a hold of you for an emergency?
Oh, my wife will still get a hold of me. It's right there.
Well, maybe your wife, but maybe your kids might not.
I don't think this is the first, not to get off the subject, but
Do you want to do an introduction, Bill?
Listen,
Okay, so,
personally, I don't agree with shutting our phones off to the outside world during the whole meeting.
put them on vibrate,
Yeah, put them on
You look
vibrate.
down,
Okay,
hey,
put them on
guys,
vibrate. I'm okay with that. I'll vote for this if that's the case. Yeah, all right, that's fine.
two things from my perspective. If you want a more effective meeting, do not blindside us. The bottom line is, this was handed to us just now, okay?
No, this was sent out this afternoon.
All right, well, we'll get to the timing of how, I think there's another topic here. I think we need a little more advance notice, not only for our agenda packets, but that's a good topic that I think we want to get into. But for this,
We're going to do that later on.
for this, number one, it's that. Number two, it's your attitude with regard to dictatorial processes here, and I'm not going to be micromanaged, okay? And I know every one of us, I'll speak for myself, I know all you guys, that, we've all done texting at some point in time, okay? Even at the last meeting, I had to get his check here, which I inadvertently took home and didn't realize it was a live check or an electronic check. So I'm texting my daughter, hey, you got to get this in the car,
Your check?
his check.
Oh.
I took it from the world. I took the whole world covered. But I think, to Frank's point, we're all professionals here. We do have a higher level of standard up here, okay? I think it just needs to be said, hey, guys, you're up here, use those phones or turn them off. You got business, take it out the door. Period, the end. Gentlemen's agreement, handshake, we're done. I don't think we need a resolution. I think it's going to cause us more problems than it's worth.
So,
Bob made a motion to post it.
all right, but are we saying that we're gonna just put that stipulation to put it on vibrate? 'Cause it was said that we need to turn
Vibrate
them
in
off.
your pocket?
Yeah, vibrating,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
If we can amend it that way, I don't have a problem with it. I
Yeah,
think we can handle it a different way, but if this is what everyone wants to do,
You okay with that, Mike?
No, I'm just saying, it was made that general, so put away, so it didn't say
Put
shut
away.
them off,
Oh.
didn't say, it
Yeah.
just says put them away.
I'll put them away,
So they
okay.
weren't on the
Yeah, then we
general.
don't need to change
so
anything.
we don't need to change. All right, let's go.
Okay, roll call. Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Nope.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Marson?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
We got,
Resolution
Introduction of resolution number 2016-39.
I'll make that motion. If you want to read it, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, resolution of the Township of Greenwich, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, authorizing the Township Police Department to create a Facebook page subject to the review of the Township Committee and the Township's risk manager.
We'll make the motion.
Yes.
Second.
Second. Discussion.
Yeah, quick one. Indemnification type clause for these Facebook pages. We put in a policy to kind of protect the township. How do we enforce the indemnification? If someone goes rogue on these Facebook pages
No, I think
that
it-
are under the police department.
I think it's set up where, let me cut you off, but it's set up where it's no comment on the page.
Well,
Where you can comment.
my question is directed to the attorney.
Mhm.
Right.
For indemnification,
That's why I
for
put in-
us, for our own people posting, okay?
Right, so the thing is, that's why I put in there the subject to the risk manager, because I know one of the things they require is you cannot have people post and respond to Facebook pages, because that's one of the biggest problems. So And your social media policy, which is pretty good, I mean, I reviewed it, allows you to permit, and by a vote of the Township Committee, to let people use other social media. So I think what has to happen is we're going to have to see exactly what that Facebook page is going to comprise, get the risk manager, your insurance risk manager to comment on it and say what they can do or what the restrictions have to be, and then it's up to the committee.
Yeah, I mean, just so everyone knows, this was addressed in the Blue Line Consulting Police Overview Study, okay? And they did recommend Facebook, and I'm a very big supporter of that. However, what is the indemnification? So you were tasked with looking into our social media policy. There's no changes or amendments to that at this point in time?
There's some grammatical changes I would make to that, but I mean, otherwise, your policy basically says that you can't have, the official website is the Greenwich Township website, and you can't have anything else, you can't use Twitter or whatever else without approval of the Township Committee. So, and then it has certain restrictions in there. So, and all those restrictions will have to be abided by whoever wants to go, in this case, it's the police department, and the Facebook page. And they're going to have to say, this is the type of Facebook page. Look, I don't know much about Facebook, so I'm not the expert, but that's why we have in there that they're going to have to show the committee what they're going to do. We're going to have to run it by the risk manager, make sure they're okay with it.
All right, so we're in here. I just want to make sure that's in here. I'm okay with it, in accordance with requirements. And can we add in there township risk manager and indemnification clauses? I don't want the township to be held liable for a rogue employee going out there and doing something defamatory on our Facebook pages that we've already authorized.
I mean, we could add that, but, I mean, it's going to be we've authorized the Facebook page, so it's be just like anything else. If there's something on the website that somebody finds defamatory that we put up there, you can get sued for anything at any time. I mean, we could run that by the risk manager and see if they think that's necessary.
I would approve it with that amendment.
When at the bottom of the resolution where, it says, create and maintain Facebook page provided it is maintained in accordance with the requirements of the township and the township risk manager?
Yeah, I think Mr. Adams wants something, I guess the problem I have with that is just that it's the police department, so we're insuring the police department anyway, so it's coming out of the same pocket, no matter who. If we're authorized the Facebook page by an organization in town...
He's worried about somebody going rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but...
I would say the township risk manager is already listed in the ordinance, correct?
I mean, we can run it by, like I said, when we see what they're going to do and ask them, look...
It's our police department, okay? Right. Hypothetically, this is the issue, guys. This is social media. It is fast, it is instant, and you can't control it once you let the horse out of the barn. And I'm just looking for a further clarification that if there's an individual, okay, who's posting this stuff, we representing the taxpayers aren't footing the bill for that.
But you're probably going
to. As we know,
slip and falls, don't open up a skating rink.
What happens is you're having them indemnify, I mean, they're us, we insure them, right? I mean, so we pay for that, so we're kind of, it was like a third party or something.
Well, all I'm looking for is an
Is
extra
an indemnification really going to make us any safer?
No.
That's the
And
problem.
here's what's going to happen. You're going to get sued. If somebody does something that's an intentional act, you're going to get sued individually as well, but the town's going to get named.
Yeah, that's...
So, we have a motion on the table?
I have no problem putting it in. I have no problem. It's really a meaningless clause. So
Mike, what do other towns, I mean, you represent Washington Township, I believe their police department has a Facebook page. I mean, why do these things like this take so long to get passed in this town? I don't understand.
It's a simple question.
So what
were you happy with that answer?
What is Washington
When I was mayor of Ackerstown, the police had a Facebook page, they posted stuff on there sometimes I didn't like, because it would be like the crimes that have been committed in town, it doesn't check, but it actually happened, so, but we had no policy as far as limiting them as to what they could put on there. Whether we should have is a different story, that was 10 years ago, but, a lot of towns, the police will come and say, hey, so Facebook page, they say, okay, fine.
I'm all for the police doing
I'm not
it.
saying
that was recommended, and it makes sense for a lot of reasons. I'm just looking to get us extra.
But that brings up a question. What if we don't like what they put on? Do we have any recourse?
Go back to policy.
Yeah, we apologize.
I don't know, not necessarily.
Well, isn't it saying?
No, I mean, it could be just, like you said, it could be, I don't know. Do you want our crime statistics on Facebook? I don't know.
I personally do, yes.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
I think the town needs to know.
That's just an example, It could be something else you may not like, you know what I mean? What is our recourse? Do we have final say? Can we put that in here, that we have final say, that we can override?
It's subject to the approval of the Township Committee. So you can revoke the permission to have the Facebook page at any time. Just like if the risk manager comes in, if there's a change in the law, for instance, somebody does something and then they get, that's also something that's going to have to be addressed. So I think it's going to be fluid. But, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they had to get authority from you under your social media policy to do this. You can take that authority away at some point.
There you go.
Okay.
Roll call?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment before those, if this was done earlier, okay, we all had time to review it and absorb it and discuss it, I think it would work much smoother here.
Okay. Roll call?
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Marson?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes. Let's see that email in the facility group. What time?
Five.
Seven?
What do you want? We're keeping it on the
We're gonna, wait on number 3 and go to number 4. Township Auditor Financial Update, AFS Review.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Try to keep this short. I was asked to come in tonight to give you an update as to what our status was and where we're at with all the financial documents of the township.
Is there anything in our packet?
I don't know.
The AFS is in there. Tab 9. It's after the billing list.
First thing we'll get to is the annual financial statement. Your annual financial statement was filed prior to February 10th, so it's filed on time. We had a little bit of, couple of bumps in the road while we were here, so we did get to iron them out before we put the documents together. Overall, I know everybody likes to know where did my fund balance wind up, what do I have left. On sheet 3 of the AFS, you can see your fund balance. Your fund balance was down approximately $28,000 this year. It was down to about $682,000. You utilized $478,000 in your prior year budget. So when we approach budgets, we like to give you a 2-year range and try to recap the fund balance that you used in any given year. You were close this year, you were $28,000 short, but there were a few items on there that are going to be non-recurring that could hurt you potentially going forward. One of the items that we canceled, we discussed this last time, were the unidentified receipts that was reserved, and there was another reserve for payroll expenses, and those totaled about $135,000. So canceling those helped bring your fund balance back up. Again, you're not going to have those going into next year, so you've got to keep that in mind. Another, not cause for concern, but just, forward thinking, you were very tight on your 2015 budget. There were a lot of transfers made at year end. You have a lot of funds encumbered, and you have some funds reserved. What happens when you have a budget? It's a 2-year document. And if you guys know this, forgive me for telling you something you already know, but your budget's a 2-year document. So for 2014, when the budget was adopted, that money, whatever is not spent by the end of the year of 14, carries over into 15, so that any expenses that come in 15 that pertain to 14 could be charged off to those reserves. All right? Whatever is not spent out of those funds are lapsed back into fund balance. Okay? So at the end of 14, at the end of 13, money lapsed into 14, and that was $88,000. This past year in 15, you lapsed 51,000. And these are all bumps to your surplus. I'm just showing you that the numbers are going down and down and down, so you may not recover this. And I don't anticipate you recovering even close to 50,000 next year. So I just want you to keep these things in mind going forward when we get into the budget process and you're trying to figure out how much surplus we're going to use in the budget. Remember, you were close to recovering all your surplus this year, but next year you could be facing a little bit of an issue. Right? One thing we didn't do this year was deferred school tax. Right? Deferred school tax, without getting into a big conversation of it, it just takes your payable and it defers some of that payable going forward. So it takes some of your payable off your balance sheet, increasing your fund balance. The state allows you to defer up to half of the school tax levy. You're well below half at this point in your deferral. I think your deferral is like 1.7 million at this point. It could be almost 2.5, 3 million. So you can keep that in mind going forward. If you need to increase your surplus going forward, we can do that next year if the situation calls for it. There were deficits in miscellaneous revenue. There was a deficit in delinquent tax collections. You did have an increase in your current year tax collection. And these are all, again, facets of the fund balance. This is how we got from point A to point B this year. We do not have any deferred charges that we have to raise in this year's budget. And Kathleen came in at the end of the year, did a lot of journal or budget transfers, made sure there were no over expenditures. There's nothing out there that you have to raise in your budget, which is a good thing because we're going to get to the budget in a minute. When we come back to do the audit, I don't know if we set a date or not, but we pushed the audit back a little bit. We're probably going to come in after your budget is adopted to come in, finish up the audit. We do have some sizable interfunds that are still out there that we need to take care of and address. I'm going to ask Kathleen not to do that until after your budget is adopted because there may be some mechanisms in there that we could use as revenues in your budget. But those do have to be taken care of. We did have issues in the tax department, but I know that there was training, and the training went well. Can you jump in?
It went very well. I spoke to Bonnie. They changed some parameters around in the admin system. It's going to make things run a little bit more smoothly. I know they were here, 9 in the morning till 5 at night, so it seemed pretty intense, and they said they learned a lot, so I was very encouraged.
So when we come back, we know what areas we need to look at in the tax department, because there's some things that we're not 100% satisfied with, so things may change. Your annual financial statement is an unaudited document, just to put that out there. It's not an audit, it just kind of gives you a snapshot of where you ended your year. Things do change in a bunch of these AFSs as we get into the audit time and find other issues that arise. Just to touch base back on your annual financial statement, your sewer fund balance declined as well, but you're still at roughly $1.4 million in surplus there. I do know that there's sewer projects on the horizon, and I don't know how much you're going to be putting into your budget and capital improvement fund for sewer going down the road, but you are in a good position there for now. Now that this is out, a lot of the information in here is used in your budget. And we need to talk about the budget. That's going to be starting to come up soon. We're going to start having budget meetings. You know, Kathleen is speaking with department heads, and they're going to speak with the liaisons. You are going to have some challenges at your budget this year. I don't know how versed you are with cap banking, but I'm going to explain it just a little bit for you. There's 2 caps that you have to be in compliance with. There's an expenditure cap and a tax levy cap. The expenditure cap is, it takes whatever you spent last year or whatever you budgeted for last year, and then it adds your cap budget allowance for the 2 prior years to come up with what you're able to spend this year. Also in there, you're allowed to pass the COLA ordinance, which will allow you to bump up from 0% to 3.5% those expenditures that you budgeted for in the prior year. In the prior year budget, you have, get out my cheat sheet, inside cap in the prior year, you budgeted $3.2 million. there were no cap adjustments for the prior 2 years. You did not pass the COLA ordinance. I don't know why. This is a mechanism that is insurance policy for you. It does not raise taxes. It raises the ability to move up if you have larger items. I know in this year we're going to have retrogrades, so this would help you in a situation like that.
Remind me here, we're going to have what? Oh, retrofits, okay.
Okay, so just to let you know, if you pass the COLA ordinance this year, which I highly recommend that you do, because if you don't, you're going to have it flat as to what your budget was last year. If you pass your COLA ordinance, you'll be able to go up another $113,000, and I believe a lot of that is already earmarked for certain things. Because there were no COLA ordinance passed in the last 2 years, you have no ability to add anything extra to that number. COLA ordinance used to be an automatic ordinance that would go as soon as you introduced your budget, it automatically went. That changed about 15 years ago. Now they want you to do it by resolution or by ordinance. Last ordinance was done in 2013. Problem is, because there was nothing in 14, it carries for 2 years. So 14 carried to 15 and carries to 16. Because there was nothing done, there's nothing carrying into 16. This is why I'm saying it's going to be very tight. And my first recommendation to you would be to pass the COLA ordinance before you, or introduce it before you introduce your budget.
Okay, just to summarize that.
Sure.
This is to allow us to increase the budget, am I
Yes.
understanding that?
This is the expenditure cap of your budget.
Okay,
Your expenditure cap is all inside, budget split into inside cap, outside cap. Outside cap, the state determines that those are things you really don't have control over. Debt, capital items, there's some other things in your pension costs. There's some things
Yeah,
within
that's
your
right.
budget that go up and down more than the 2%
Yeah.
or whatnot. The inside controllable costs, they say you can go, and year after year, it was a 1.5%.
what's an example of an inside controllable cost? please?
Police salary, wages.
Any
Or
salary.
Any salary and wage.
operating,
Right.
The bulk of your budget, basically, the daily operations.
Okay. So this year, the state says 0 is the cap. You cannot increase unless you pass the COLA ordinance, which brings you up to 3.5% increase.
COLA's cost of living adjustment.
Okay? So that would be my first recommendation, is to pass that, or to introduce that prior to the introduction of your budget. Again, this does not authorize any spending, does not authorize any tax increases. You're in control of that. And how levy cap banking works, for instance, last year your budget was $3.2 million. This year, if you pass the COLA ordinance, we'll say it's $3.3 million. Okay? If you still come in at $3.2 million, and you were able to go up to 3.3, that $100,000 difference becomes cap banking for 2 years
Like a
in the
savings
future.
account.
You don't raise that in taxation. It's just a number that's out there that gets added in case of a rainy day. Part of what this is for is if the state decides, well, your cost outside cap, we think some of those costs should be brought inside cap next year. So say they brought something in like interest on debt service. If they bring that in, that could wipe out your entire 2%. You can be done. But if you have this cap banking year after year, that's kind of a buffer for you going forward. Again, you're not raising it in taxation. You're not authorizing it to be spent. It's just the level of what you can raise up to if you need to. The state numbers are coming up hopefully tomorrow. So you won't be introducing until mid-March, late March,
I'm going to say April.
okay? So you'll have state numbers. I wouldn't recommend you introduce until state numbers are out, but they should be out relatively soon. Anything you need help with as far as we're concerned, we're always available. If you have a budget meeting and you want us to come out and sit through it, not a problem. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a challenge, but get through it.
Thanks, Jim.
In reference, I'm sorry, Jim, go ahead.
On the COLA issue, I know we directed you to touch base with former auditor,
Okay?
Morrison, is there any explanation?
I haven't received anything back from Mr. Morrison. So I don't know if he, well, let you know that it was available. If you as a council don't know that it's out there, you don't know if you can vote on it or not. So I don't know if that was communicated to you and you didn't vote on it, or if it was communicated to you and you decided to not vote on it.
No, there's cap banking available to us, and positively would take advantage of it.
Right.
And in combination with the capital projects plan, all right, with the zero tax increase was the plan at the time. Does that still remain intact?
I'm not familiar with the capital projects plan.
That's why I need to meet with Mike.
All right, so we got to,
You have a long way to go before we
From what
get
I
to.
understood earlier, and this was a very, a 1-minute conversation we just had, were you saying maybe put $250,000 more into the budget for road improvements?
Well, no, I wouldn't quite put it that way. No, and the way I'm going to put it might not be any better, but last year, with last year's budget, there was a $250,000 budget for roadway resurfacing.
Yep.
And there was a long-term program established that had earmarked roughly, and it varied a little bit, another $250,000 per year going forward.
5-6 years.
5-6 years, which is actually reflected on, that plan reflects
It's a beautiful
the plan for future, primarily roadway resurfacing. Okay.
But the money would have to be put in every year.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, how that was going to work, I don't know, but, okay. Because of the situation with the committee, and there was never a contract award made, and it got too late, so nothing happened last year. So, the $250,000 that was not spent last year, as God is shining down on me and Greenwich, that would carry over and be added to the $250,000 that was at least earmarked in the 2016 budget. So we'd have $500,000, in theory, to implement what that plan shows as the 2015 and 2016 roadway resurfacing program. And you've heard me talk about it, but December, certainly, last month, and it's in my report again. Until obviously this year's budget's, established, figured out, we have to wait until we do anything. So we're obviously going to wait until there's some money budgeted for the program, or what it may be.
All right, so you're talking 250 plus 250 plus 5.
Yes.
I want to hear it.
If there's a silver lining in that, that's all outside the cap. So that doesn't factor into, raising it up to the cap levels. So that's done outside the cap. If you're in a situation where you know that there's a big expense on the horizon like that, you have to look, I don't know if you would fund it all through cash that you have. I don't know if that's the route you want to go down. Looking at temporary notes to pay this off and come up with a 5% down payment from capital improvement. Well, it's a matter of how you want to get there. I'm always open to suggestions, but coming up with $500,000 in this budget?
I don't, out of my rudimentary knowledge, okay, what Bob was doing was leveraging the cash flow for the school tax payment. Okay? Very standard from my impression of what he was talking about. I don't think it enabled us to add, like 250 plus 250. I don't think that was in the equation. So that's what I need. I think this committee, because you guys are now on the hook for this, do we want to continue putting those funds towards these infrastructure-related projects and doing so without raising taxes? That was the gold lining of that whole plan. That was the crux.
But this is all part of the budget process.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going through all these lines.
Outside cap. I think we need direction from you. Is it 250 or 500 or, hey, nothing at all, And I think that's what you guys would want
That's
to
why
hear.
I want
Right.
to, let's work on inside the cap at the moment. So I've been meeting with your department heads. My ultimate game plan then is, if you guys wish or approve it, I'd like to meet with all of you individually, because you're all liaisons to the different departments, so that I can get that knowledge from you, what is needed, what is not, and then how you want to proceed from there, how we bring it all together. I want to, again, bring John here to present what we found and work on, or you want to do a subcommittee, you let me know.
In the past, I don't know, I'll just put this out there to the committee, see how they feel about it, but I know in the past when I was previously on the committee, Greg, you were on the committee with me, we used to have Saturday budget meetings, right, Greg? I don't think this, I mean, I thought it worked out pretty good, Saturday morning budget meetings. I would not be opposed to scheduling them. I know Jim's making a face, but
No,
Good night.
what we were talking about was...
that's just my opinion. I mean, instead of scheduling another night, I don't mind coming in the morning for a couple hours. It's
What
not
we
a
were
big
talking
deal.
about with Kathleen was, she was gonna, like, when she said, approach each one of us, talk about the committees that we're responsible for, and meet with Mr. Finelli as to what his projects are, and whatever capital projects that we have. And then once she gets that together, then, let us know from that aspect, and then we'll take, two people from the committee and sit down with you and go through the budget, once you have all the information it's all together, right?
It's a different process, and it's fine if you want to follow that. We were more involved,
A little more collaborative.
a little bit more collaborative in doing it, but if that's the process you want to follow, that's,
I
you
thought she was
know,
gonna meet with everybody on the committees to find out exactly what your committee needs with, that aspect of it.
Is it the intent of the committee to give direction to the CFO to go with a zero-based budgeting concept, or is this a continuing where we were last year?
that was my intention when I came on here, but it looks like,
What-
Kathleen, tell me, you've already gone,
Yeah,
you already
where-
started the process, right?
For the major,
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, DPW and police are, and, I've talked with Jerry and Joe numerous times, so, calling it zero, there's no fluff in there that's not needed, it's just figuring out how to manage it. So, I trust that they're giving me good numbers and we're going over them.
Which information?
Well, the essence of zero-based budgeting is to go into Kathleen's office and start with Kathleen and say, okay, Kathleen, how much money do you need for supplies? How much
Mhm.
money do you need for
Yeah.
paper? How much money? It's a lengthy process that needs to be started
Months
a
ago?
long time ago, all right? Maybe November-ish, all right? And everybody gets their budget together so that by the time it comes to you, if you have to cut something from a line item, oh, you're not getting paper this year, I'm sorry. Something like that. So it's a lengthy process, and it comes out to basically, if nothing, all things considered, nothing changes, you're kind of right back in the realm of where you were last year. I'm not a proponent of, okay, cut 2% across the board, because you don't need, some departments might need it,
Mm-hmm.
but if you have I don't know, maybe the tax collector received a computer last year and it was budgeted for. You want to make sure that's pulled out of your budget before you go into it. That's the concept. And if you take that approach and say, okay, anybody who got things last year and are satisfied, we're pulling that out of your budgets and we just move forward. Or if there's anything that when Kathleen meets with the department head, is there anything specific you know you're going to need this year?
So the plan is, though, when you are ready to introduce or show us what the budget is.
I would never, ever bring this ready to introduce without having all of
Right. So the plan is we're going to have a meeting just for the budget, and we're not going to incorporate a budget discussion in a regular township meeting.
I think we should just have just for the budget, yes.
Yeah, okay. 'Cause I think that maybe we're going to probably need a few of those.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's where I was going
We
with
may
it.
want to meet with these department heads too, on like a big purchase certainly, because I wouldn't want to speak on the department I'm in charge of, and in 6 months say, Bob didn't put it that way to me when they said they needed that item. So I think we have to have the department heads come in and answer to us at a budget meeting on, especially the large purchases, things that are,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and typically what we were requesting was the department heads, what prior to your arrival, prior to Kathleen coming on, was the department heads would submit their budgets, and due to the situation with the communications last year, there was limited communications with the police in terms of budget items, but we did build in certain things, like the police cars. Like, so for example, we bought 2 police cars last year. I don't think we'd be buying 2 this year, get us back into the cadence of 1 per year, all right? But Bob, this is your bailiwick now.
Exactly.
So,
That's why I think when we get to those items, we need to all be here and have the department here.
Yeah,
so-
yeah, so there's some big savings, there's some big built-in savings there from what we spent last year, so. And I'm fine with Saturday mornings, I don't,
Oh, wow, you didn't look too happy with it.
oh, no,
we'll determine that.
7:30 in the morning, I'm fine, all right?
Is it 6?
6? That'd be pushing it.
Okay.
Much rather earlier than later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All done? Mr. Jones?
No, what's somebody, I'd like to, somebody do it, you didn't do anything.
Oh, yeah, okay. You said that was on the 9th?
Somebody do?
Yeah, it's just a memo from Joe.
Good night, thank you.
Good night.
No,
All right, facility viewed. Mr. Maxon.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this at all.
Joe, would you want to,
That's a management program,
I'm familiar with facility, doing school, do that type of thing.
Yeah, it's the same setup, I guess, Phillipsburg School District was using it. The thing here with it right now is, I know Phillipsburg School District's a lot larger than we are. Right now, I'm the manager, what I call it, the lead manager of it, and for what's involved with it, it would probably make me have to sit at the desk 5 days a week, probably most of the day, creating work orders and stuff like that. I found myself backlogging work orders, doing the work, getting the work out, because we're such a small department. I'm just talking about DPW work. Then backlogging, creating work orders, because I don't have the luxury of being there, creating work orders, forwarding it out to the staff. The staff does the work.
Yeah.
And
Give it to yourself to do it.
I'm a working supervisor, foreman, superintendent, cook, bottle washer, whatever you want to call it today. And but with what's involved with it, and I just wanted, I shared this, was over in the fire station, we just put all our trucks when they run out in the run report or air packs on Google Docs. It's free. It creates a job sheet. Truck goes out and call, they come back, they put the miles in, who was riding on the truck, list any problems, submit, and it sends a document if the officers want to print it. And I was thinking basically the same thing for free, do the same thing, have the department heads, the police, because I'm in charge of buildings and grounds, a complaint comes in the clerk's office, they go on here, create it, when they submit it, it sends an email to me, I know there's an issue somewhere. If they didn't already contact me by phone or did a face-to-face. And like I said, it's not a big, I don't know, I heard some of the numbers of what was involved with this, and I'm not sure, so I'm not even going to say what they were, where this system would be. What we're looking for is to track the job and to make sure the job gets done instead of getting lost in a verbal conversation. This way here, we have something to track that. The roof was repaired this date, reported this date, finished this date, and it's been taken care of.
it's gonna be beneficial for you if you're using the Google rather than
I
facilities?
think just to create, or somebody could send an email, and I'd have a document, and if I had to fill something out, I could even, it would be self-document.
Are you using facility dues now? Is that what you're using now?
It is, again, I think, what was it, about mid last year it got put in, August.
September? August.
By the time of training, and still don't have everybody up to speed, training and using it, and it requires.
What are we paying a month for that?
That, I don't know, I don't have them figured.
I think, how much is it, $500 some
The
dollars a month?
initial payment was what?
Tab 7 for the paperwork.
Right.
What we paid.
Yeah, I have the initial here. I'm
Yeah,
saying
the
that initial was $14.33.
It was more than that.
I'm gonna look at what I got.
Well, that's just through January 1st.
No, no, no.
Just right here, renewal.
Initial investment, $1,433.
What did we pay last year?
That's what I'm saying.
I think last year was 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what, 400 or 4?
$14,000 for this thing. That's
400 or 4,000?
$1,433.
Oh, 1,400.
It's right there. Total initial investment.
Getting it
Investment.
set up and everything now to maintain it every year is $1,540.
Okay, I see it.
So 4,000 last year to buy it,
To get it.
to get it, the rights to it, and then another $1,500. And you can do it for nothing.
Yeah, there's this Google
And it's less time.
out here. What's that?
It's less time for you, less
Yeah.
involvement.
It should be.
So, one of the other intents was to either leverage existing staff or get a assistant for you to cover that input, so that we can identify the assets, and I don't know if this ties into a financial requirement for the township to have its assets cataloged somewhere in this, that, and the other thing. But it'll also give us out management reports for, hey, these are the items that I want to lay out for this year's budget. And like what you were talking about, the tracking of that as we go through the year, how did we hit that,
Well, this Google Docs does the same thing. We can track an air pack, and I'm just using Firehouse because it's what we can track an air pack that broke down and had a problem, and it'll keep it into a database.
So if you take that and expand it to the township assets,
So,
same thing. You could still plan, you could report out, we could see, I think the eventual intent was to see how many hours it's taken us to do certain things, so that we get some meaningful statistics out of this thing. But it's-
The fixed asset accounting that the state directs, that's a little bit different than maintaining your equipment. They come in fact, I got a quote, I didn't tell anybody to do anything with it yet, because I wanted to tell you it's $2,000 to do it. They come in, they tag what you own. You can pick an amount, say over anything valued at $1,000. They come in, they tag it, they give you a binder. This is everything in the town. I had asked him, I don't even remember anymore, do we include the fire company, or is it just their own stuff? Okay, so it's just to do the municipal building and the police department.
It's anything that we own, anything that the township dollars own,
Yes.
and yeah, that would be covering it. I don't know if that blends into some of the equipment that Joe has. I don't
Fire
know.
trucks for the town.
Fire trucks are the towns, but the scuba, you pay that in your
See,
budget.
that would have to, when the guy came to do it, that would have to be identified.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do anything until, it's $2,000.
It's a lot of money, but it's something that I guess we
It is a directive of
intended.
the state, it should be done, but...
Is this work order?
What has nothing to do with
Facility dude?
facility?
No, this is, we're on facility dues. So if we get rid of facility dude, we'll have enough money to pay for the audit of the inventory.
There you go.
Yeah, I
So on that
understand.
note, I'll make a motion to do away with facility dude or whatever it's called.
Second.
Can I get a motion on the fixed asset accounting?
Let's do one thing at a
Oh,
time.
Wanna-
is that the clerk in me?
Yes,
That would be second. Kenyon?
yes.
Adams?
No.
No. Marqueta?
Yes.
Horsley?
Yes.
Spencer? Spencer?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so then, Bill, do you want to authorize Kathleen to fix asset?
Yes, I do. I'll make that motion for $2,000 to fix that asset audit.
Second?
Second.
Ken-
Inventory, yes.
The
Yes.
name of the company is a claim inventory.
They do a lot of calls.
Where does that data end up? As,
In a
is it in
binder, comes in a
Edmunds?
binder, yeah, but it's in its own report.
There is a module in Edmunds, but we don't own it for fixed assets?
There is I don't know if there's a lot, I don't use that anywhere. It's easier just to have these people come in and do it. They'll tag everything, it'll come in a whole nice binder, which the accountants will take at audit time. It works better that way.
Good job.
I'll go with it.
Yes, for the second time.
Well, no, I said Adam.
Oh, yeah.
Marqueta.
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Spencer.
Yes.
All right, next topic.
All right. Change of committee assignments?
I had mentioned to the mayor that, I don't know how, when we did these assignments, I think I ended up with everything. And I don't think I can fairly, handle all these departments and meet with them. So I would suggest that at least if you could maybe take the courts and assign them to someone else and the road department to someone else, because I just can't, it just won't be fair for me to meet with, I don't meet with people.
Make a motion to, assign the courts to, Bill Kenyak,
Yes,
in regards to committee assignments, and the DPW, I'll
You want
take
to do
myself.
two different motions?
I think you do one.
You do one.
Do one.
Myself for DPW and, the courts for, Bill Kenyak. To change the committee assignments.
Second.
Second.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Parsons?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes. Historical Commission appointment. The Historical Commission would like to appoint Sheila Johnson. Is she here?
Excuse me, just a second.
Okay.
Greg. Greg. Sheila Johnson, is she replacing Helen Hall, who resigned?
Bob resigned, right? Bob Hurt.
Who resigned off the
Bob
Historic
Hurt.
Commission?
Bob,
I think it was Bob Hurt that I
Bob
got
Hurt.
there.
Okay, so you have to make a motion to accept the resignation of Bob Hurt
Right.
first.
And make the motion to accept the resignation of Bob Hurt.
Well, I like that motion. Are you making it, or are you asking? Did you make it?
I'll make it.
Okay.
So what's the motion?
Motion is to accept the,
I'll second that with regrets.
Mr. Finale.
Okay. Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Parsons?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
Okay, now the appointment of Sheila Johnson.
And now make the motion to appoint Sheila Johnson to the, Johnston or Johnson?
Sheila Johnson?
To the Historical Commission
For Bob Hurt's-
for Bob Hurt's position, expired soon.
A second.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Parsons?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes. Employee handbook, there's sections in the handbook that we're gonna have to update, with regards to contracts and stuff, so,
When I did the notice to everybody, I gave it to them, everybody signed. I only got back one, and that was from Joanne. Gary will not sign it, and please forward it to the PDA. And that's it. So,
Do you have a response from the police, at least, as they forward it to their attorney for review?
Jerry verbally told me that I could
Well,
have
ask
it
him for that in
in
writing, so at least we have the receipt that they received it, and
Okay.
they sent it for
And
attorney
then,
review.
yeah, and he could, because he told me that they, they won't sign it.
And do the same thing with Joe for his department, an email, so that, well, you have to have it.
Okay. So, I think in this instance, attorney laboring along with, I can find out from the case from our insurance, the changes that need to be made into the system.
Right.
And I can work with Mike and someone from the committee to get it updated to that in a draft form and then present it to the committee for review. prior to us adopting, if there's any other additional things that, whatever, but we'll do the statutory things.
Yeah, we have to go through the road department.
So we'll start working on this and maybe for March or April, we'll have a draft.
Good. Okay. All right.
Thanks. Can we just repeat that for the audience? I don't think everyone heard it.
That we're gonna have something,
March or April.
March or April.
Attorney Weaver and I will have a draft employee manual, ready for committee review.
all right.
And then upon adoption, he's going to have to sign off on it and send it to the public. A lot of stuff.
So,
Do we do a motion on that? You want to authorize? I make a motion to authorize Attorney Lavery and Kim. I thought it was both, right? And Kim to update or provide a draft manual update with the employee handbook by the March-April timeframe for committee review.
I'll second.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Yes.
Introduction of the ordinance to adopt, 2016-01, to adopt first reading. An ordinance of the Township of Greenwich in Warren County, New Jersey, authorizing the expenditure and contribution of funds from the Open Space Trust to the acquisition of by Warren County of interest in property designated as Block 16, Lot 6, the West Farm, Block 17, Lots 1 and 2, the East Farm, Block 18, Lot 3, and Block 19, Lot 1, the South Farm, as designated on the Greenwich Township Municipal Tax Assessment maps in the Township of Greenwich, in conjunction with the State Agricultural Development Committee in Warren County.
I will happily make that motion.
I'll second it. Did we not do this last year? Was this not, or we redo?
We discussed it.
Yes, this is the ordinance to actually get the funding.
Put the funding there.
In the March. John Terrell prepared this. This is the-
Okay, good.
with,
Yeah.
Vincent
I just
and
wanted to get,
Kenya?
I have to abstain.
Adams?
This is my problem. No, I think I can see it.
Adams?
yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Marson?
Yes.
Benson?
Yes.
When's it closing?
End of March.
It is public.
And Mike, when's that house coming in? What the house?
Oh, yeah.
Can we coordinate something with the fire department? Can he burn?
No, you can't do that anymore. You can't burn it anymore.
The neighbors.
Make a motion to accept the DPW monthly report.
Second?
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams? Marqueta?
Yes.
Marson?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes, for the monthly reports.
The old school, mentioned about getting an appraisal on the school.
Yeah, we need
Find
to
out what
start
the
the
value of it.
process of, and Mike, we're gonna have to rely on you. Who can we get to appraise the school? Can we put a sign up, potential for sale or for sale? We gotta do something with that school. Once we sell it, we give the money to Joe towards a down payment on the fire department, and then, I don't wanna put that money back into the general funds.
We'll have to carry it.
Okay, no, I can carry away. I don't wanna use,
Whoa.
well, that's my thought, okay.
Okay, good.
Mike, you can't sell it until that, was the asbestos remediated in there? Was that ever done?
No.
So you can't sell until that asbestos is remediated, no?
We, yeah,
You can sell it as is?
Fire, take care of that.
You're gonna get obviously a lower price. I mean, that's the problem.
I guess, that's because we don't have a CO in this town, I guess, right?
That has environmental
That's right.
issues. How much do you invest to get it cleaned up, to have it,
So
cleaner?
would the, we start off with getting an appraisal just to see what it is, as is sale compared to as what we would do to clean it up, if need be that way?
I don't think we have money to clean it up.
Let me jump in.
Understand.
Let me jump in, okay? Because I believe Mike has the capability of putting out this RFQ. We already covered this last year. Right? We gave him the specifications. I think Greg was mentioning, the aesthetics and whatnot. As all that, I mean, you were tasked with having that ready for us to execute on. We should be able to go out and solicit our RFP, whatever the technical term is. But we're at that point. If you guys are all good with, hey, sell it as is, let's execute.
Well, another selling point, I think, is, hey, we're bringing sewers there, the price is gonna go up once there's a sewer connection there, or the possibility.
Well, we still got it.
That's, oh, definitely.
Oh, that's a slam dunk.
What's
No,
that?
yeah.
I missed that.
That was a good idea.
That's twice tonight, if you agree, guys.
Okay,
Let's get
that was a
on the
good
record.
idea. Yeah. Well, I mean, anything getting sewer is going to be obviously more valuable and may help offset the hurdle that someone's going to have to take in order to take on the building. No,
The potential use of that facility has just been expanded by nothing more than the ability to connect the sewer. Again, obviously, the sewer needs to get in the ground.
Right.
But
So,
yes.
Mike, all right, if I could do a motion here, all right, how soon can you execute on this and get things in the newspaper, get the interest in here, and start opening up bids?
Well, I think the first step has to be an audit, not an audit, but an appraisal. You probably don't see.
I'm pushing.
Okay,
I'm pushing it.
okay.
What do we,
I don't see what the rush is. We've dealt with this for many years.
No,
Just get the appra-
no.
No, I'm with you, Bill.
Yeah, I know you're with me,
We
but
Get
made
the
a lot of
appraisal.
progress
Get the
last
appraisal.
year.
gotta get rid of it.
No, what I'm saying is, just do the appraisal. I'm agreeing with
If
you.
you get the RFPs, then you can do the appraisal. Don't waste the money on appraisal. Look,
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Okay, yes. It's,
I'm good with it.
free to get,
can I,
hey,
you want to do the RF?
Mike?
so I'll make a motion to authorize attorney, engineer Finelli to draft and implement the RFQ to sell the old school with the provisions that we discussed last year, that was keeping the aesthetics in place and as is.
Well,
You want to amend?
No, I know
That's the motion.
I know this old school has been a topic for a long time, what we are gonna do with this old school. Greg mentioned trying to make use of it just now in this meeting. I just wanna make sure everybody's comfortable that we went down all those roads, and I think I am, because I've been involved with this a long time, but there's a lot of people in town that have
Yeah,
soft
it's a
thoughts about
sensitive
school,
issue.
it's sentimental,
Yeah.
thing, and I want to jump into this, without taking that into consideration, that there are a lot of people in town that do have a sentimental feeling for that.
And I think we gotta rely on Mr. Blasko over there to get the sentiment of the historical people, the committee.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm saying, do we need to make that decision tonight?
So
Yeah, I think-
so I started,
No, I mean, we can start.
I think we do have to make it.
well, let's go round.
Well, wait, we got a motion, but does
Just a
anybody,
thought.
I'll second that motion, so now
Oh,
we
was
can
there a
have that
motion?
discussion.
Okay.
He made a motion.
Don't second my emotion, my motion.
Your motion, not your emotion. And I would like to include Greg Lassie in this discussion, because he's got a long
All right,
history.
so we got a motion on the table.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Got the motion on the table, discussion,
I
so
don't think we have to use it.
I'll kick off, and then you guys go, and then you do what you want. 2008, when I came on the committee for the first round, I made a vow. I said, listen, I vow to turn that old school into a functioning asset for the township. It has historical value. I believe we need to preserve that. However, I don't believe we are the proper owners of that building, and it can be better utilized by a private entity in the future. That's where I was going. So I'm comfortable with moving forward.
We're moving forward on the motion?
No, we're still in discussion.
Yeah.
So, can we, once you put it out for RFP, does that mean anything, anybody, what are the restrictions to who can purchase that school and what can go there?
They're built in, just like the firehouse.
It's like
You would have it all set.
You gotta build within a year, or...
So that's,
I know we have to keep the exterior...
now, I'm not talking about
Okay.
facility restrictions, I'm talking about the type of business,
Yeah.
the type of
Use.
use.
Well, that will be submitted with the proposal.
Yeah, I don't, okay.
We get to decide the type of use.
Yeah. We don't have.
Right now, it's zoned...
It's not a bid, it's just a...
No, yeah.
proposal.
Right,
You guys
right.
get to pick and choose whichever one you think is the
Which
best
one
for the town.
is best fit for the town, exactly.
Okay, all right.
And those requirements for the aesthetic.
Roll call?
And for the timing, you don't want to turn this over to someone and just have it dilapidated, and, it'll fall back into
And
our
who
control.
is, Mike can report back to, who is in charge of the old school? Are you gonna assign somebody from this committee?
Just one other thing before we move on. I'm going to ask Mike this question. I know originally, that old school was part of the color plan. Okay? Has that been taken out of the color plan?
No.
Okay, so that, you got to keep that in mind,
That's fine.
okay? Do we need to remove it from the color plan first, if we're going to go down this
No.
route?
No. First of all,
It's in the plan.
it's only 8 units. That's 5. There's 3 more than that, that's 8. 8 units for us with the other affordable housing constructability that we have available to us is a non-issue. We can certainly go ahead with this.
But we should have it for
Absolutely.
procedural purposes.
Should
Yeah.
we move forward and actually convey the school to someone. We get a proposal that we just...
And that's not part of any color plan that's been submitted, stating that we were going to use that as part of the plan as of now. That's been submitted to the state.
Well,
That's what I'm worried about.
no, it is in the last plan, but that last plan technically has no validity. Until this, and Mr. Labor can chime in, until this current round of litigation proceeds, and we develop our housing element fair share plan and submit it and get it approved, when Beth McManus develops that,
Yeah.
that's when we need to either take those units out or leave them in.
Can we amend this motion to say subject to the color attorney review?
Well, we're under no, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the lawyer, we're under no obligation to accept any RF.
Whatsoever, yes.
Right, you just have...
Yeah, the nice thing is, it's not a bid, so you could get 20 proposals, and you could reject every one of them and say, this is not what we want.
Why would you want to go down that road if the attorney's saying it's not legal? That's just my point.
You had no, well,
I'm just asking for a color, it's a color attorney, we have a color attorney,
Yep.
right? He's responsible for the plan. Let's just it might just take an email from
Accept the
Tim.
proposal?
We could get an answer tomorrow, and then at the next
It's
meeting,
not easy, I don't...
at the next meeting, that's just my thought.
Yeah, you want to cover all your bases, I hear you.
yeah, you could take the motion subject to that, and
Yeah.
then going to come back and say it's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
You haven't
As
provided
amended.
the units, you're just saying that you'd like to.
Motion as amended.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I second that, and I,
Bill's seconding his motion, my second motion.
yes.
Did you want to, yes.
Marqueta.
Yes.
Barski.
Yes.
Spencer.
Yes.
Excuse me, just so I'm clear, because I got a little confused now exactly what just happened. Is it passed?
You're not going for the RFP until we get an okay from the
Okay,
color
let's
attorney.
say hypothetically, because we can get this RFP, I think tomorrow we'll get the okay, to be honest with you.
Okay.
This is to me...
Has to move forward.
If you get the okay, I'm okay
Next
with it.
week start?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
So we're authorizing Mike to go get that approved.
Well, President, you gotta get it approved.
Mike, take care of it.
Don't wait for next month's meeting if we get the okay.
Mike, you make the phone call tonight.
Tomorrow, you'll be good to go.
You're, okay, I'll call him.
Yeah, but you can't because of the cell phone policy.
Well, no, I won't call him from the building, sir, I'll call him outside.
Okay, dam removal.
I'm going, all right?
That's you.
I understand that. If it's not a problem, we get it done. Okay? Seriously. Huh? Yeah. Removal of Bloomsbury Dam on the Musconetcong River, Asbury Graphite Mill, municipal tax lien. Need a motion to authorize, I'm sorry, what? No, authorization?
What's that?
What is this about?
They're taking down the dam in Bloomsbury.
The dam by the bridge?
Dam by the
Right by the
bridge?
bridge?
Yeah.
NJDEP is, and the Army Corps of Engineers.
Yes.
What tab are we in? I can see that.
Nine,
It's in tab 7,
seven.
it should be towards the end of the picture.
Yes.
Or on this map. What what they're saying is, they're gonna need an easement to park, during construction, to park and, stage and everything over at the Asbury, site. One of the things too is, first off, is to authorize Spinelli to, coordinate with the NJDEP, the Corps of Engineers, this demolition and construction, that you should be involved in. And then I spoke with, Attorney Lavery regarding, we have a municipal tax lien on this, and we're in a position to foreclose on the property, but Mike can take it.
We don't own it, so I mean, you know, we're in a position where you can foreclose on a lien, but we're not the title holder of the property, Asbury Graphite still is. So if anybody's gonna get an easement to park equipment, it would be them, not us at this point. You know, maybe a year from now we'd be able to do it, but, you know, we're not the owner of record of the property.
But there's something more in this.
And we're just allowing them to use this site. The park,
Construction.
yeah, we did this up the
But
street.
they're requesting the township sign off on an easement.
And so when Kim called me, I said, well, we don't own the property, right? We just have a tax lien on it, so we have the ability, we have an interest, but we can't grant an easement, you know? and, you know,
Yeah, we're not gonna grant an easement for this.
Asbury,
They're asking.
Asbury Graphite has to, so they have to be told about that, and then,
And how long does this last? So we don't need to do any
It's
action.
not gonna, construction's not gonna start
We don't
until
need any action.
2017.
All right.
Easy one.
Yeah, 2017 sometime, yeah.
Yeah.
No action.
Until
Go,
when?
Bob.
So it's removed. Yeah.
They're just removing the whole dam.
They're
The whole
removing the
dam.
dam right on the other side.
Done in
Well,
North Connecticut
I think
watershed.
90% of it is what I read, but, yeah. We're gonna only like a little portion.
Oh, I got no idea why we're doing it.
Yeah, some of the-
So that certain fish can spawn up the rivers.
It's an environmentally...
It's a good thing, Jim, it's a
It's
good
North
thing.
Connecticut
Yeah.
watershed, yeah.
So no action.
So-
No action?
Do you want to send this to your environmental commission?
Yeah, Varshy's up.
Okay. Make a motion, we accept the police department monthly report.
I'll make that motion?
I made the motion, just...
Oh, I'll second that motion.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
McKenna?
Yes,
Yes.
Spencer?
Nothing. We can't do that.
Spencer, did you answer? Oh, okay.
Make a motion for resolution number 2016-40 regarding New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Greenwich Township Emergency Management Grant was awarded to us, July, I don't have to read this whole thing. July of 15 goes to June of 16 for $14,000.
Second,
Oh, they awarded us 7. and we
7 and
have a cash-
7.
We have a cash vote for 7.
Right.
Okay.
I'll second it.
And that is going to be used for offsetting emergency management salary.
Right.
Kenya?
Oh, yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Horsley?
Yes.
Spencer?
I'd like to make a motion, we accept the fire department's annual report for the last year. It was included in my packet, I think everybody got it.
Yeah, it's in there. I'll second that.
Is that the financial? The financial...
No, they're calls, calls, and
Calls.
Oh,
answers,
okay,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Second, did anybody second?
No, Bob made the motion, Bill seconded.
Okay.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
McKenna?
Yes.
Horsley?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
And my other two things we discussed already, handbook and employee benefits. Okay, so. Oh, no, actually, we did it. Did you ever follow up with today about the letter to the former employee? about-
yes, it's not sent.
Okay, can we get that done? Okay, thanks. I think I'm done here.
Bob, one thing for you, since you have the police department, what's up with the, computers and the prosecutor?
I haven't heard anything on that.
I think that's executive.
I don't, is that executive?
Yeah, executive.
Keep it in executive, okay. All right, let's see, I met with the rec department last night for a short meeting. Right, Ruth? No, it's, you know, really involved compared to when I was involved with the rec committee 20-some years ago. It's like now they gotta have ID badges and stuff. But anyway, I think it is. I talked to our attorney, Mike, about a new resolution, and I know, Jim, you'd want more time on this, but we really need to have a resolution for the rec committee to have Facebook access. So, I don't know how everybody feels. We can mimic the one for police, and Mike said we can do a couple of wording changes. Mike, how do you feel about that? Or we
If I had
can...
my druthers, I would let nobody have a Facebook page, but, you know, it's but you want to get information out, a lot of people use it. You know.
Right. I would include Twitter with that too, right?
Yeah, one of the biggest problems we have is getting the word out to the people in town. It's always a struggle. What's coming next, what we need to do, before a late fee kicks in, when the next event is, when there's a cancellation in the store. It's the hardest thing, and unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of social media myself either, but it's definitely the way it is the future. Like you said, the back to the future. It's what it is. Everybody wants to know why we don't have it. We have a system where we send mass emails, but we send so many, they just delete them. They don't even read them. You see a mother or a father the next day, and you're like, when are sign-ups for that? It's been going out for 2 weeks, and they know it gets to your house. So it's very difficult. Or if we could just use it as a tool to inform people.
So we're in the midst of one of the busy seasons with softball, baseball,
I'm fine with
lacrosse.
this. I'm fine with it.
So can we do a resolution 41?
Same as
Okay. I'll let you read it, Mr. Lader. And include Twitter with that, right, Mike?
Mark, yeah.
Mark, yeah.
And it would be one-way discussion, no comments.
All right. And that would be a resolution of the Township of Greenwich County, Warren State, New Jersey, authorizing the Township Recreation Commission to create a Facebook page subject to review of the Township Committee, Township Bridge Manager. And then I won't bore you with that. We'll do it exactly the same as the one before, which says it's subject to Township Committee review and subject to approval by the Rec Committee.
All right, so I make that motion?
Second.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Spencer?
There's a couple other issues that I'm going to bring up with the school this week, and I'm going to try to meet with the superintendent and the board president. There's a couple issues I'm concerned with. I don't want to bring it up now, so I will send you an email out later this week. And the other thing is they have Easter. Mark, the Easter egg hunt is the...
March 19th, rain date, March 20th,
Okay, and that's from
11 to 1:30.
1:30, and Kim,
Yep.
in the meantime, you'll post that and, or do it? Okay, and get it in the,
On the website.
Greenwich Gazette too?
Yeah, it's on the recreation website, but you want it on the township website.
It's on the town calendar,
Is it?
and it's on the rec website.
But
If
you
you
want a
want
flyer
to
posted?
if you want to post it there, that's fine with me.
Post the flyer too?
Yeah.
Okay.
One other thing, just in line with me and my cell phones and trying to cut garbage expenses, we're doing away with the time clock expense. So can you give me an update? Do we get any money back from that?
I spoke to ADP. They're maintaining that they sent the clock. We did not implement it.
So what does that mean?
We didn't fulfill our part of the...
They want to be paid.
So that costs like 10 grand for the clock? Or what was the cost of that?
I believe so, but there was an ordinance for 10 grand. That came before my time.
Right. And then we also had to pay a monthly fee on that? What was the monthly?
$310 approximately a month.
All right, so, Mike, is there any way to try to recoup some of that 10,000?
There
I mean-
is,
I didn't take a look at the contract. I mean, I don't know the circumstances. I'll certainly take a look at it.
there are oodles of implementation issued emails. I think we have a very good shot at reclaiming dollars. It's my point.
All right, so maybe if we can get whatever information off.
I'm sure, Kim,
Maybe you can send them a letter, maybe they'll act on it, you
I'm
know?
sure all the emails going back and forth with ADP and trying to get them here and vice versa. I mean,
Was Elaine signing stuff?
Elaine had a big, summary. There's a couple of key emails.
Let's gather information.
I will say, there was things with the clock or whatnot, but the clock clock was up, the clock was running, the employees were punching, and the data was put into the software system and everything like that. At the end of the payroll session, I would go in and roll it over to payroll. So it would be moved over to payroll. Unfortunately, the people that were doing payroll did not take the next step and implement that portion of the software package into payroll to have it as a functioning thing. So that's where it stopped and stayed stagnant. So, we did use it, we did roll it over,
So you want to, we're just going to do information gathering, or we'll address it?
Yeah.
Well, hang on, because that changes my stance here. I mean, we've used it, okay? Came in November, you got rid of the clocks. I don't see how we had a chance to not pay that bill.
But we use it to the full extent.
No, well, we paid the 10,000. I don't know what,
We never use it for another.
Yeah, what's on the table? What?
nothing, I just want to
Nothing's on there,
know.
we're just going to make them gather
Right.
information.
I want to see if we can get our money back.
We'll readdress it next meeting.
Yeah, that's it. I want a refund.
Yeah.
10 grand is a lot of money.
Let's get more info and
Go for it.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay.
Mark said,
First thing I have is, I know one of the things that we wanted to do, I know this whole committee was, really wanted to get the open space committee going again. That was one of our goals collectively. You appointed me as liaison, so I'm trying to get that moving along. So I want to make the first appointments. These don't have to be the last appointments. There's no rules or regulations around this committee. It's an advisory committee. So let me just go over real quick with the committee, the purpose of this committee. The purpose of the committee is to address our acquired Green Acres space that we acquired through Green Acres acquisition, and to see if there is any possibility of developing that land for possibly a walking path, some minor recreational facilities, and to also come up with the funding mechanism for developing that land, which would be the Open Space Trust Fund. There is no requirement, there's no, we're not bound by anything this committee does. They're strictly advisory. They're going to come up with a plan, they're going to present it to us, and we all get to decide. So, that's just to be clear, this is what the Open Space Committee is. Now, there's another portion of this, which is the Ag Committee, which we talked about. The Ag Committee is the committee that's responsible for acquiring farmland. I'm still trying to form that. I think I have a farmer. I'm looking for one more farmer, Kim, so any ideas? Let me
So
know.
Frank, you're going to need a motion to create the open space committee first.
Well-
I don't think we have.
No.
Do we have?
Committee exists, yes.
Well, you
Okay,
named the
but there's
liaison
nobody
of the
else.
Open Space Committee, so I'm
Okay.
assuming,
All right.
I'm assuming we had one.
You got
so-
something?
There is no committee. You're forming it.
So, and I'm not opposed, I know Will had some concerns about maybe opening up to more people. I'm not opposed. If any of you want to add, we can add as many people as you want to this. It's strictly advisory. If we want to put it out on the website, if you want to ask if anybody else wants to get involved, I'm all for it. This is just the initial membership. We could determine where we want to limit it if it starts to get to be too many. But that,
Don't we have an ordinance that stipulates 7 members and 2 meetings?
I'm not aware of it. I'm not aware of it.
The two for the farmers is that Ag Committee.
What's
Right.
that?
It's the Ag Committee.
You don't open space.
Yes.
You have to have an open space ordinance if you create.
I thought we had one.
Yeah. But not as
I think if that, but the,
the limit terms.
that's if the committee is going to actually do some acquiring, no? This is just advisory. This is not,
You know, it's how we are in white, too.
yeah? All right,
What,
so
advisory, or-
what do you want?
Yeah.
You get the motion to...
So, maybe people.
Well, they're saying,
Well, I'm all for you moving
okay.
forward.
All right, let me name the people,
You
people.
call it ad hoc, call it,
So-
advisory, whatever.
So, and also what I would try to do is try to get a cross-section of the town. Rec, Board of Ed. I'm looking to get, somebody from the plan board, I'm thinking it would be a good idea too. Maybe Greg, if you're interested. Greg's been on this before. Yeah, so, all right.
At some point, and what we attempted to do, and circumstances dictated otherwise, but we wanted the engineer to chime in.
Oh, absolutely. Mike, in fact, Mike, maybe you could give a history. There was a previous open space committee that did kind of do this, went through this process of,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was involved to varying degrees, depending on the year and the activity and so forth, and we probably produced, God only knows how many maps over,
You could line the walls.
We can carpet this floor with all my open space plans.
That's right.
So, yeah, I mean, we have obviously a wealth of information, and I'd be happy to help out, as needed.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, there's been active committees for quite a long time. I didn't even realize.
I know the problem in the past, like, the committee's got a little overzealous and wanted to put a major park development in there, and it was very costly. I don't think we're not going down that road. I think the objective, yeah, I mean, looking for some cost-effective means to...
Good balance that takes care of our current recreational needs, but it doesn't,
Okay.
we're
All
not
right.
going
Give us the names.
to kill the drink.
Give me names. I'm going to give you names.
Okay.
Mark Fornicari, Mark Hellman, Brad Perone, Jeremy Blunt. I have down Mike as going to be an advisory engineer, and Spinelli and Pinto as an open space consultants, in case they're needed. So I'm looking for, I'm going to make a motion to appoint them as the first members of the open space committee.
For a term of...
I don't know, do we have term limits? I don't think we have term limits.
1 year?
Let's make it a one-year appointment.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I'll second.
Frank made the motion.
I second.
Jim.
Okay, so the next thing I have is,
Kim's
The microphone, roll, do roll.
sorry,
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
yes.
Varsity?
Yes.
Kim, where'd you put the form letter? Which tab?
Tab 7.
7?
Right under, like,
So-
facilities.
As far as farmland preservation, been meeting with our consultants. I want to get, I asked them to provide us with a priority list of farms that we could start looking at and deciding where we want to go. But in order to make a priority list, a big part of what comes to making that priority list is knowing whether or not somebody's even interested. So the first thing we would like to do is just, for all the farmers in town that own open space, farmland property, let's send a form letter out to them and just see if they're interested. So that's what this is. I'm trying to get approval for this form letter to go out to all of the farms, landowners in town, just to find out who's interested and who's not. So I'm looking for a motion on that.
I'll make that motion.
Any questions? You making it? Good.
I'll make it.
Yeah, I'll second.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Varsity?
Yes.
Spencer?
Real quick update on COA. Judge Miller entered a further case management order last week and extended our immunity from exclusionary zoning lawsuits through July 1st. And he gave us the date of July 31st, 2016, by which the planning board must adopt and the TC to endorse the plan.
I'm sorry, Frank?
July 31st.
This July 31st.
Yeah. So this brings up one of the issues Bob and myself have been concerned with. Part of this COA plan has to do with how many units that we're going to have to provide. There is a determination that whether we're in or out of the Highlands varies the amount of units that we need to provide. I think we need to make a determination on whether or not we want to be in the Highlands, because there are certain implications to being in the Highlands, and I think we all need to discuss this. They could have some issues with home rule. They could have some authority over our zoning. So we have to determine, is it worthwhile to save X amount of COA housing by being in the Highlands? Or is it more worthwhile to not be in the Highlands and have the additional COA housing? So what I propose to do, and we need to do this right away because of this timeline for submitting the COA. Our next
How
March
many homes
meeting,
are we talking about? What
we don't know.
We don't even know worst case scenario.
Yeah, this is the problem. I've been asking, we're going to get this at the next meeting, so here's my proposal. The next planning board meeting is in March. There's nothing on the agenda. I'd like to have a joint meeting. I want to get the numbers. I want to get the COA numbers in the Highlands, outside the Highlands. I also want to discuss the detriments to being in it, the positives to being in it. We need to make a decision, because right now, because everybody doesn't know, we're considered petitioning to be in the Highlands. That could hold a potential risk for us. I don't know. But we need to make a decision on whether or not do we still want to be in the Highlands. So what I'm proposing is to have a joint meeting between the town committee and the land use board on March 9th to go over this Highlands issue and to go over the COA housing. No,
No,
open.
we don't have open.
What? Well, let me,
How does that impact the current John Drill Co. litigation?
John Drill recommended this, so I'm sure there's no
In
impact.
open session?
Can we determine whether it's open or closed?
I really don't care.
I would say, just not knowing, I know John's handling the litigation, but I
Yeah.
would say, my vote would be closed, only because you're
You
going to be
could
discussing
open it,
strategy
yes.
that
Yeah.
their chair is going to use against operating that.
You gotta leave it open.
What?
Well, they can't do anything executive. I mean, did you guys follow the Phil Hacknall thing when they went through the Highlands nightmare?
Oh,
They
I
elected
know,
into it.
believe me, I know all about it. I'm not-
That's my point. Right now, we're elected into it.
They have to talk about that.
I got concerns.
For our sake, I think you better do it in open.
I-
For your sake.
You know what?
They
It's,
they can't make any determination without thinking about the problem. So, but they gotta discuss at least litigation strategy in close.
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
they're gonna do, they're gonna have to.
this isn't litigation, this was, this isn't a litigation
No,
strategy.
but, I know it isn't, but,
Yeah.
you don't have to take strong, we can discuss it more in executive, but I think it starts to bleed over into.
All right,
I'm in favor of meeting with John Drill.
I can even try to get a hold of John during executive if you want, if we could get
Well, we got cell phone
clarification.
policy, so we can't do that.
No, this is town business, so anyway.
But I think this, okay, you're right, you should have the meeting and you guys can vote to have it,
Yes.
and then subject to John Drill.
Subject to
litigation,
approval,
whether or
right.
not it's public or, closed. So
Okay.
So make that motion.
So that is the motion.
So, the motion is, let's schedule the meeting, Tim, make public notice, I'll contact Tom, you'll contact Tom, Ken, just to let him know we want to join meeting.
A joint meeting?
The regular land use, scheduled meeting for March, tell him it's going to be a joint meeting. He doesn't have anything on the
Is this the one
agenda.
that I've been talking with John that we were going to do in February?
No.
He wanted to push.
This is a different meeting.
Okay.
This is to determine whether or not we want to be in the Highlands. This is what this meeting's about.
All right. I'll talk with John and coordinate the notice for the joint meeting with the planning board. And this will be at March, their March meeting?
The March 9th land use board meeting, okay?
What was it, 7 o'clock?
Is this
Yeah.
I'll second it.
I don't know, do anybody, I'll make the
You
motion.
made it, you seconded it.
All right,
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
yes,
Varsity?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
all right, sewer. So this was a topic tonight, that came up, Bob and myself had a couple, we had one meeting with the sewer subcommittee. So just so everybody knows, there's not many people left in the audience, but the previous committee, decided that they wanted to undertake a pretty huge infrastructure project, which is to put the sewer in Main Street, north and south, up Washington, and pipe down to the, Wyndham Farm pumping station.
Can we get it to Stecker Field too?
Yeah.
We can have the
It
map.
goes a little bit up, all right, so, it's a roughly a $2 million project, probably more, okay? The committee that made the decision to do this project is not funding the project. Guess who's funding the project? We are, okay? This is a major financial,
We are as in who?
this committee.
Oh,
It
okay.
depends, the committee within this year, the plan, okay, the plan is to bond by the end of the year, okay? So if we're still sitting here, because there's an election in November, whoever the committee is, if we do it before November or whatever, we're gonna have to make a decision, that another committee approved, on whether or not we're gonna go ahead with a $2 million plus project, okay? There are a lot of things to consider on this project that we had questions, with the, sewer subcommittee about. Things like, what's it gonna cost the taxpayer? How's it gonna be funded? Why are we doing it? Are there any alternatives? And these are things that, listen, we were handed this. So I think we all want to be well-informed. If we're going to make a huge financial decision like this. So, I know we already approved Mike because of deadlines.
Right.
Because remember, we were just thrown into this.
Right.
Mike's got a deadline to get, it was a low-interest, grant loan.
Yeah, the EIB loan.
Right.
Exactly.
So we approved
This
Mike.
March? Mike? When is that paperwork coming in?
March 4th, 2 weeks, basically. Yeah, no, I mean, Not to
Yeah,
interrupt,
March 4th.
I
Yeah.
certainly can chime in if you want me to, Frank.
Yeah, I will, Mike, I'm gonna go to you in a second.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
we've got plans, like, pretty far along. I mean, if you guys have seen our bills, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
we,
Yeah, I've seen
the bills, like,
But-
last month's bills, these is the primary reason for the
Yeah,
bill.
so we already approved Mike,
Store account?
we approved Mike up to $45,000 to go ahead with this.
Right.
Mike, how much of it has been spent so far, you know?
Well, there was some prior commitments made that actually predates you guys, as a matter of fact. So, of the 45, not, maybe 10. But again, we've been working very
Yeah,
diligently,
no, I
so
know.
there's gonna
I
be
know.
another pretty good chunk
So-
of bill coming.
So-
this month with that question. Yeah.
Just putting this out to everybody, because I personally, I think, I won't speak for Bob, but I know Bob's got some concerns, but, I personally, I need more information for myself to make a decision on this, so, Mike's got a deadline. Do we want, as a committee, to go ahead and approve Mike to continue to spending that money that we approved last meeting, or do we want to get more information and halt any further progress on this until we can collectively get more information on this?
We are all members of the Board of Health. So I think the genesis, correct me if I'm wrong, of this came from a Board of Health issue, the issues with septic failing and that. So if you want to do like at the next meeting, you have a Board of Health session. I think you have to have one statutorily every year, once a year or something like that. I'm all for that. You know, I hear you. You want more information. You did get thrown into it. You did go for the EIT, which I think was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I'm
You
curious.
want further verification.
Your opinion, I suppose.
I guess there's two things. Well, first, out of the 45,000 that was authorized, how far through it are we?
He said 10, right?
10 grand.
No, he said plus what?
Boy, that's really seat of the pants, as they say.
Well, I guess my question is, if you're almost through the 45,000, we have the plans ready, and we're gonna submit it in 2 weeks, that point's almost moot, and the money's gone.
Yeah, well, that's nothing. He's talking to 2 million.
I know.
Yeah.
Which, what I'm saying is then would give us the time to have that Board of Health meeting and discuss those issues. But I think you're worried about this tonight, right?
Well, yeah, I am worried about this, because if we don't know,
What is this that you're, what is?
this is approving Mike to go up to the 45,000, okay? If collectively, and maybe we do know, this is my question to everybody, if everybody's comfortable, then we move ahead. I personally am not, I need more information, but if we're not at a point where we can make a decision, why we want to spend more money.
All right, so wait a minute, I don't understand. This is a resolution, you're saying ordinance.
I was wrong.
Resolution.
I correct myself.
Okay, but we did authorize Mike to spend up to
Doesn't mean we can
45.
pull it.
Okay, but we did authorize him already to
Yeah,
do
I know.
up to
I know.
the 45, okay.
So, I mean, we could go ahead and have them continue, and then we could decide later, but, you know, it could be another 20,000 that we could have saved if we decide not to do it. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and this is not general fund. So,
No, that's not true.
Well, I don't know,
totally
that's
not
one
true.
of the issues that came up, even as far as the contributions towards this, it's assumed that the new customers in the sewer will be paying the fees, and the current customers...
yeah, but the 45.
Oh,
So where's the 45 coming
Well,
from?
Sewer capital improvement fund.
Okay, so is any of it coming from the general fund?
No.
Okay.
It's not a fiduciary responsibility.
Yeah.
It's $45,000.
So 45,000.
Understood, but I want to make sure you're not going down one path that's going to satisfy another.
Well, I guess what the point is, how much you're gonna spend in soft money and then not pull the trigger in the end and put the stores in. I guess that's what the issue is.
Yeah. The issue is, do we want to put a hard stop and make a decision that this is worthwhile? And I'm not saying this is not worthwhile. What I'm saying is, I don't think anybody here really knows the implications and really the full history and impact of this project at this point. We're all new.
Understood, and that's why we brought in Brent and Company, I guess,
Yeah.
tail end of last year, and, you know, it's a huge transition in knowledge transfer.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. However, I think we collectively decided to go with the 45. If we miss that, I don't know what that means in terms of timing and dollars.
We don't have, like, well, Mike,
But I don't think we should be second guessing ourselves, at least with the 45.
how much more do you need to submit those documents?
Well,
You need the rest of it, all of it?
No, you're talking dollars, not time, I assume. Okay. No, to be honest with you, we couldn't spend the 45 unless I got my whole company working on this job, which of course is not the case.
All right.
So, we won't go up to the 45 by the time we gotta submit the plans. It might be 35, 40. I mean, it's gonna be a good chunk of that 45,000. No doubt about it. All right. And again, this is probably, and it's gonna sound self-serving because it's probably hard not to have it sound that way, but here's, I mean, obviously, I've been involved with this longer than anyone, and talked to Brent at length about it, and so forth. And Frank and I have the email exchanges and phone calls and so forth. So, for us to proceed and get these plans and specs and all the other submission documents as far along as possible, and it won't be done, because all the permitting and so forth is not even required at this point in time. But we'll be clearly further along, and I think we would rank a little higher in the eyes of the EIT when they get our info. You know, we're obviously, the town has spent a lot of money already, and it by the submission in the March 4th deadline doesn't obligate anything. I mean, it really doesn't. Other than, I understand what you're saying. You're saying, well, if Kelly's going to spend another 10 grand, whatever. I mean, if we really have no intention of going forward with the project, why are we going to spend the 10 grand? And that is a fair point. It's, you know, timing is a little interesting because the deadline is literally 2 weeks from now. And, you know, for the last 6-8 months, we've been, hitting this pretty hard. But it doesn't bind the township in any way, shape, or form.
No, I know that. It's just a matter of dollar expenditure. I don't have a problem if the committee wants to go ahead and just, let's approve this. But a further discussion, in my opinion, by this committee needs to be had about, this project as a whole. This is going to be a large commitment from this township. We need to know how it's going to be funded and what the implications are going to be.
Yeah.
There's also going to be there's could be Highlands issues with sewer extending in front of open land if we're still in the Highlands. It's got to be considered. All that's got to be considered.
We got to look at what land is still available,
There's land available in front of the sewer.
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying. This is stuff we have to look at.
right.
Yeah.
Where?
Right, it's going right in front of Smith.
You're talking about South Main Street?
So the sewer extension is covering
Yes, it is.
specific properties, it's not...
No, it doesn't. It goes right to the school.
Because the pump station is at the corner of the school property.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, here, I mean, we have the plans
Yeah.
here, actually, so we can take a look.
And it's also cutting through.
So one of my concerns is we're using $45,000 of money from people that aren't even affected by that sewer connection down there, construction. And I don't think it's fair to the residents that pay that quarterly sewer bill. I mean, I don't know how you get around it, but Greg's sitting out there saying, hey, you're using my money that these people have...
That's one of the
That's
issues
one of the
that has arisen from this.
Yeah.
And they actually, I don't know that everybody downtown even wants to worry about the hookups and everything when it happens, so I...
I'm saying there's a lot of questions.
Guys, I think you need Board of Health, and I think you need Carney in the room. He's your sewer attorney. And
Bond counsel, not to interrupt you, but I think clearly to get bond counsel in here, to talk about the implications, methods of payment and so forth, that would be very, those are
That's what you want.
important.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for more information, that's all. You're asking me to make the decision now, so,
So is this come under you? Are you the sewer?
well, we both are.
All right, then I would suggest,
Do you
my
want-
suggestion is, let's schedule a meeting in March,
Okay, that's,
outside of the regular township
Yes.
meeting. So we got the 9th, we have the 17th, I believe, and figure another one that, you know,
Saturday morning.
try to get a bond council on Saturday morning, you know?
Let's work with Brent.
And somehow, maybe let the residents know on North and South Main Street, hey, we got a construction project that we're thinking of, and it's gonna affect you, you know, so.
Like, Will raised the question the one time about what if somebody just put a $60,000...
I agree with what Will said, yeah. How do we...
I was under the impression that we were drafting this, we're taking that into consideration.
Oh, yeah,
The ordinance.
the ordinance,
Yeah, the ordinance would take that into consideration, obviously.
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is accurate.
And that's later down the road, you know.
But the issue is, once this 45 is expended, before we get to the point where we do another resolution to place more money in this, I think we gotta decide what we're doing. I mean, otherwise, it'd be like 10 years, I remember with the court building they were gonna build, they got up to the last minute and a few of them didn't pull the trigger, and by the time they changed orders in, everything else, and they spent a lot of money and nothing happened. I think Craig actually brought that last meeting.
I just wanted to think, because there was thought I heard somebody say something about, well, you already spent X amount of dollars. Well, you know, let's use the firehouse as an example. There were maybe hundreds of thousands spent on the firehouse. And now the town's spending nothing on the firehouse. So I mean, I was for the firehouse at the time, you know, but my point is this. My point is, we don't need to throw good money after bad if we don't think it's a good project. That's all.
And Mike, is there any type of funding, state grants or anything out there for, you know, EPC, you know?
Well, that's what we're going for.
That's what we're doing right now? Okay.
That's this application we're making to DIT. That is a partial grant and a partial extremely low.
They don't say anything going forward, I'm not.
So what type of, talking any type of...
But again, it doesn't cover soft costs. That's the problem.
Okay, let's
So,
do the resolution.
is everybody okay with Mike going forward, and we're keeping that 45,000
Yeah.
expenditure in place?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and approve this, and we'll go talk about scheduling another meeting, all right?
Just your resolution.
Do we need this?
No, there's a,
What tab are we under
We
there?
have to approve.
yeah, where is that?
We have to approve 41?
1641.
Resolution 1641,
Yeah, he's getting it, we're approving it,
We already approved it.
Just had four.
We're questioning
It's the
ourselves.
last
So,
resolution.
and now we're still going ahead. Yeah,
This is memorializing, just so we're clear, because it's
1641, correct?
1641 memorializes the action you took last month when you authorized me to go ahead.
Yes.
So, that's
All right.
all.
yeah, it's retro. I thought we did it at the time.
No, it's a retroactive.
It's just so everybody knows,
Yeah.
when you make a motion and you second it, you vote on it, that's the official act. You don't need a resolution after that unless you're a land use.
You need to talk to Attorney Carney.
Attorney Carney.
He feels that.
Absolutely
Okay.
not. The
I said
official
the same
action is
thing.
vote you
I was
second,
a-
vote, it's in the minutes, that is the official action of the town. If you're representing a land use board, it's different, you have to have a resolution.
All right, so what are we doing?
I've given this lecture
I-
26 years, and
I'm with
that is the
Attorney
official
Lavery
action.
100%.
You produce a resolution, doesn't mean that what you have to produce is the record that shows there was a motion, second, vote, and that was accomplished.
You were
That
here.
is the official
What
action.
are we doing? What are we doing?
Are we gonna do this or not?
We already approved it.
Carney.
Carney.
I don't want anything.
Mike.
Second and adopt.
Motion, make a motion. Whoa. Easy now, let's go.
I make a motion to adopt resolution number
1641.
1641.
Second.
And second, Will. Okay. Carney?
No, he's not here, but I, yes.
That was beautiful.
I know. Adams?
Against the opinion of the attorney, yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Markey?
Yes.
Spencer?
That's all I got, thank you.
They didn't want Lavery and Carney to have a conversation and bring up my bill, you know?
Okay, I'm doing this in 10 seconds, I hope. Okay.
Okay,
Environmental Commission update, so we heard from Bob on the collection fees. Members, I have lack of members, guys, so...
No, excuse me.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead. Mark,
no, leave it.
go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, Jim.
Okay, so, I understand we're down 2 members as of the previous meeting, and I had requested that you make some additional appointments. And I know Paul Bean, he was in the audience today, I wish he hung around. but we're not seeing him at the meetings, and I think Tim Gale is also...
Yeah, he came the next day and asked me when is the next environmental call.
Who, Paul Litz?
And I was going to introduce him to Bob Vetcherson here tonight, but I couldn't get over that.
Okay, so is he in...
He knows it's the third Thursday, and he's going to be coming, because he has to come, because he is that person on the land use board that needs to also be on the environmental.
So he just needs a schedule? He just needs a schedule?
Yeah. he just was-
Environmental's third Tuesday. Environmental's third Tuesday,
I'm
right?
sorry, third Tuesday, but
You said Thursday. I thought that's what, yeah, today's
Thursday.
All right, so Paul is
Paul is
still
on
in.
board for environmental, yes.
Tim Gale?
Okay, that's,
Has anything come in on Tim Gale? Okay, so I've seen some emails, and maybe you and I can get together later on, but I think you need to reach out to Tim Gale. I think he wanted to resign.
Okay.
he has resigned,
Yeah.
okay.
Environmental Commission. So I still need two now plus three, if that is the case, three people to appoint. You don't have names, I can provide one or
Who's
two.
on it, Bob?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Bob,
Bob, Maggie, Barry Glassman,
Barry Russell.
Paul.
Yeah,
Okay. So I'll provide you some names at the next meeting, okay? The other topic I wanted to talk about, I had asked Kim to put that on the agenda for tonight, was the septic cleaning contract. So I wanted to talk about this, and I don't know if it's appropriate. I would ask the attorney to decide if Mr. Spencer should need to recuse himself from this conversation.
All right. This was talked about at the last meeting, and the attorney advised that the contract was prior to myself being on the committee. And, in fact, February 5th, 2015, awarding a bid received for sewer pumping, Mayor Adams informed that he has reviewed the bids received for sewer pumping at the municipal building. The following bids were received: Delaware Valley Disposal, $352 a quarter; Russell Reed, $330 a quarter; Warren Septic Service, $315 a quarter. Bid for 3-year term on price. Committee woman Elaine Emiliani made the motion, seconded by Committee Kalari. The award bid to Warren Septic Service for $315 a quarter. Voting in favor: Felice, Torriello, Kalari, Emiliani, Adams. Opposed, none. The motion carries. And I believe you did
How long was that contract for?
3 years.
But if you want to, just to protect you, if you want to step, just so that nobody can say, oh, you were in there
That's
participating.
fine. I'll stop clear.
Yeah.
For it. This is, and just for the record, this is the third time that this issue has come up, and isn't this borderline harassment after the third time here? It's the third consecutive meeting, so I just want to make that clear in case charges will be filed.
All right, and let the record reflect that the mayor is stepping down from the dais. Stepping out of the room.
Bob, you're taking over.
So, and obviously, there's no dispute in the fact that we did award the contract. So, I wasn't comfortable with Will being paid for services after he was appointed by the governor to the Township Committee October 2015. However, I feel it gives the appearance of impropriety. At the January Township meeting, our attorney said that we could approve the January 19th bill for services rendered, and I voted no for that. So I think that was the first time I brought it up to correct the previous record. The sitting mayor can't be billing the township for services rendered as a private contractor. Moving forward, I think we need to ensure that we avoid any ethical violations. And I would like to put out a motion here, but I want to get everyone's buy-in on this. A motion to award the remainder of the contract to the second runner-up, or we go out to bid again. I don't think we should be putting ourselves in the way of this.
Well, I think the remainder of this discussion should take place in executive session.
And now you're talking probably litigation,
Yeah.
you know. But how about if we just
Well,
draft a letter to
I'm not talking
DCA?
litigation. I'm not talking
Yeah.
litigation.
No,
That's
but he
something
might
else.
turn around and,
That's fine.
yeah.
That's
But
fine, this is
how-
public.
It's all
Public
down to
contract.
DCA and asking for an
The problem
opinion.
is, these are all, all this is available to somebody else that's another contractor or something like that.
True,
There's
yeah.
attorney-client privilege, and there's stuff that I would tell you in executive session that I'm not going to say in public session because it impacts the town, that, you know, I think we got to go to executive session
Okay.
and have the rest of this discussion.
On advisement, that's what we'll do. So Bob, you know,
We need an motion?
Yeah, motion into executive session, discuss attorney-client privilege / potential litigation matter.
But we have other issues first, so we're going to make a motion that we will carry this discussion on when we return to
What
executive
I'm saying is,
session.
because the
Yeah.
mayor's out, we can...
Let's go. Okay, you want to go right in?
Recommendation,
Okay.
bring it back in and finish the rest of it.
Quick in and out.
Okay.
All right, can you get the PA system?
I don't know how to do it.
I don't know how to do it.
Oh, neither of you are the mayor.
The lights.
Oh, the blue light.
Blue and red.
How's your hand, by the way?
Mine.
Right there.
Okay.
Oh,
We're in here, up and running.
Okay, need a motion for us to come out of executive session, and we'll be coming out at 10:35 PM.
Make that motion.
Second. Beat you.
all right, we discussed one, attorney-client privilege, potential litigation matter, dealing with a contract or official act of taking, after these minutes will be available at such time as the committee determines there is no harm to the public.
And just for the record, I want to clarify that,
What do we need, hold on, before we do that.
Oh, roll call.
We need a roll call, right?
Come out.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Marqueta.
Yes.
Marson.
Yes.
Spencer.
Abstain.
Will the record reflect that Mayor Spencer has returned to the day?
and my one comment was that I brought this to the Township Committee's attention in January on the bill list, and I voted no on that bill list due to this bill being in there. And tonight would be the second time that I brought this topic up to the Township Committee.
Third, the December bill had a double bill, and it was brought up for December billing, that's it. Let the record reflect.
Okay.
I'm done with my comment.
Now, where are we?
Mike, get us back on topic.
We're up to,
All right,
On
Mike.
schedule.
we're up to Township Engineer, we don't
Anything
need
we need to vote on? Anything we need to vote on?
No.
So there's nothing for them to vote on?
We can read your report.
The
Done.
couple
And they all
things
have
that we
their
would have
report.
talked about, we've
Okay.
already discussed,
Done.
All right.
primarily the sewer. We
Done.
have a set of progress prints here, if anybody wants to look, but we're...
We'll come down over the weekend.
Along this,
Got it.
I have a request from Kevin Graham to have me pay him unused vacation time totaling $4,729.40.
That per contract?
Now, per, the attorney,
Rich Wayne.
Rich Winter, the, contract states up to 50 hours. And how many? Up to 50.
130, you can...
So he said it would be the committee's decision whether or not they wanted to go up to 130, and is there any other time that we would have paid?
Was that
anyone
vacation already
else
earned?
Up to 130. The contract says 50. Per-
Well, but that's just if he was here and wanted to sell it back, but isn't it usually whenever you separate vacation, you always get whatever you earn?
It's in the contract.
Well, then he's separate, he's,
Well,
I
Is
think
this
that's
vacation?
unbelievable.
Let's-
Why
let's-
don't you get a contract?
oh, he resigned.
February 1st.
I'll double check, because I didn't, Rich Winter, looked at the labor stuff, and he does the police contract and stuff,
Right.
so he looked at it, so I will check and see. He might
Okay,
have under the
well-
impression that this
And
was
he was
just,
doing a
that he was still
buyback.
here and he was doing, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just double
Well,
check on that.
Yeah.
So,
Any motion?
So I'm going to hold this.
okay, I would think so.
Yes.
Is it vacation time or is it comp time? What is
He
it?
calls it unused
Probably.
vacation time.
Greg, you're a trooper.
Unused vacation.
It's the only information I have.
All right, so,
Yeah.
Do we have a form for that?
He provided,
Yeah, this was an issue,
and it was signed off by the chief?
it was signed off by Deputy Chief.
Right.
Cahill signed it.
Why didn't the Deputy Chief sign?
I don't, it says supervisor signature, Dennis Cahill, number 4.
Well, then it's technically a supervisor.
Right.
Supervisor, so...
Well, it's just my understanding when when you earn vacation time, it's like having your own bank account. And you know, you're gonna look into it, that, I mean,
I don't know if
I
he
think
knew
he's-
this was the guy that had left. I think
Right.
it was just that he was putting in for stuff.
Yeah,
he
the
didn't
contract
do.
does say that, that's right.
I think, yeah, if he's still employed, but if he's not employed, I think we owe it to him. So,
We have an idea.
You could approve it subject to us confirming that
he's entitled to
he's
it.
entitled to it.
Well, I think that's fair.
And that way he can get his check sooner, you don't have to
Yeah.
wait next week.
Why wait another,
You know, the policy doesn't prohibit him from getting paid those hours.
Up to, are we doing up to, or the full 130? Or up to 50?
Well,
up to
the
50,
The
yeah.
policy doesn't allow him to do it.
I'm willing to go up to what he has earned.
So, it's 130.
So, like, in other words, if he expected 12 for this year, I don't want to give him the 8 more, but I think, he should- yeah,
If that's in the contract.
yeah,
Whatever's in the contract.
I would assume.
So it's 130 hours.
I guess we do payroll
So much for
Monday.
9:30.
Second week
Yeah.
problem.
It's close. Just start.
I'm just checking with you. I'm just gonna ask you, did you know that this was somebody who left the employee of the town and was looking for this? Or
Right.
it was just, wasn't somebody that's an officer now that was trying to...
Do we have, do we make a motion?
Okay, so we need,
Yeah,
I'm
there's
gonna make a
another-
motion that we pay him as long as it's in after attorney review, it's in compliance with contract and policy.
Yes.
130 hours.
130 hours.
Second.
So I'll check with Rich.
Yeah.
All in favor? A roll call?
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
McCadden?
Yes.
Varsity?
Yes.
Simpson?
Anything else?
We got,
Take it back.
no, we got, no, we should have one more,
I have
One more
one
public
last
comment.
item.
public
Oh,
comment.
that's it, yeah. Almost forgot.
I'll make a motion, open the public comment.
Second.
Aye.
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 Rick Laskus, 1709 Washington Valley Drive. I just wanted to comment, Bill, my comment was not as a citizen, but as a committee. All we're asking for is really three things. The
Me?
first thing I...
Me or you?
Bill.
Me.
He made a comment.
You're Will, I'm Bill.
Asking, I'm sorry.
Will, Bill.
I just wanted
We'll Bill Bob.
is that whatever you do, it's in compliance with the Secretary of Interior standards. So there's certain standards out there.
We're talking about the old school, right?
The old school, okay,
Yeah.
I
thank you.
made that comment.
Right.
Based on the committee.
Right.
The other thing the committee said, if you wanted to do a quasi type of public and private, is that we can get the basement, and that's good for the town.
Right.
The other thing was that if we're talking about trying to save our asset, trying to sell it, one of the good things would be to keep the rain from going out. You have a big hole in there from the roof. I don't know if it was still fixed. It hasn't been fixed. And I don't know if this committee's aware, you lost a grant
And
because of that.
it's tarp.
Yeah, that's what we were supposed to do.
I thought there was,
That's what we-
agreed to fix the
Yeah,
roof.
no, I just wanted to make sure, but I want to make sure you're aware that we lost a grant.
How much did we lose?
40 grand.
And what was that 40 gonna be used for?
To help stabilize the building.
Stabilized roof and all that.
Anyway, so that's fine, you're going to sell it off. And my other,
It's tarp.
two comments, regarding the money coming out of my...
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. I will have a problem if you guys don't vote. You don't vote to go spend that money. Now I'm gonna have a problem. As I mentioned in the other building, in the other meeting. It's a big project coming on, and we should be, already agreeing that we're gonna go forth on this. Which that's why Frank brought up what he brought up. I would expect that you guys should have already got a booklet with all that information. So I do support Frank's decision, I do support your decision to go spend it. But when you go for bonding, I want that money put back in. You should be doing that.
That 45 going back into your sewer account.
That should go back in the-
Absolutely, you
Just so
know?
the committee also knows, there's another little thing that happened in the town. When that land was purchased for 110 acres, okay, there was a section of that was apportioned for the firehouse and municipal use.
Yeah.
3 acres, not 3 acres, open, well, it was federal money, 3 acres money, and also the township laid out on the open space. That money's supposed to come back. Whenever you do something with that property. Just want to make sure you guys, everybody, there was I think we passed...
What are you talking about? You talking about the fire,
The
the,
20 acres, the money
Yeah,
that we
Hamlet
put out.
property,
is
20 acres.
Yeah.
We purchased that property.
Right.
We paid that with all 3 acres and, our township funds, and the county.
but when you're saying it's supposed to come back, from where?
You want that dollar check?
The open space.
From where?
From where? I mean,
you bond for it, and let's say you do something, whatever you do for that.
no, but that's what, I'm confused, Greg. That's what the open space
If you're
accounts
gonna-
for.
Hear me out.
All right.
If you're gonna, because 20 acres is not open space,
No, right.
okay? So
Yeah.
if you paid the money, you didn't have open space to go pay for that 20 acres.
Oh, that's what you're talking
With the
about.
understanding,
I understand what you're saying.
whenever you do something with that 20 acres, you bond, that money comes back into the open space fund to be used for other open space funds. I should be aware of that.
Yeah, but I don't think the plan is right now. The plan was the firemen are funding their own project, right?
Yeah, it's not out of the dollar
All
check.
I'm saying is, I want to get about the 50 grand we're spending, that should be bonded later on.
And how much money
absolutely.
are you talking for the 20 acres of Hamlin?
What's that?
How much are you talking about?
Well,
With the Hamlin.
we spent,
13 grand an acre, wasn't
13 grand an acre.
it? Yeah.
13K.
That's 260,000.
360,000.
No, 13. Greg,
Have a good night.
Greg, the one thing is, we gotta keep that committee with the old school. It's historical.
What's that?
For the old school, look at that first.
Yeah.
To me, I would think, I know there's about 8 different scenarios you guys could use, what to do with that school. But I would like to see something for the older people in the town.
Well, it's in, the reason I brought it up, it's in the plan.
Yeah. Is that in your RFP, Mike? That's the quasi-you.
Thanks, Greg.
Hey,
We will be picking your brains.
Their job to supply us what they want to do with it.
Okay.
That's what we're
we have to still go on executive with them.
No, I
Go
thought-
ahead.
Keep saying,
No, we
Oh, we
don't.
do?
no, we didn't do that. That's police personnel. Defer on what?
All right, so, motion to close public comment?
I make that motion.
Second.
No, there is something I want to bring up.
All in
It has nothing to
favor?
do with Tom.
Aye.
Deputy Chief.
We
We
came
just
out of,
closed
yeah, we just
public
closed
We go back
public
in
comment.
executive.
Huh?
We go back in executive.
Yeah,
I had one item.
Piper can't possibly understand why
Oh,
he should say we should defer. I have something I want to bring up about it.
In executive?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But Jim has one more thing he wants to
I
bring
got
up.
And you said you wanted to go over police personnel advertising. I had it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one or two other
Two
things.
items.
Yeah. I guess we can do that. But I wanted to,
I like to be short.
I wanted to know the resolutions that we signed or that we adopted during the reorg, if there was, because it looked consistent to what it was last year. And I'm looking for the resolution on the meeting minutes and the timing of things.
We didn't adopt them.
Okay. Just so maybe for the next meeting, we adopted a resolution last year, kind of laying out the timing that we get the minutes and the posting on the website. I know Sue was talking
Right.
a varied number
So-
of things there. But we specified, hey, you got, 96 hours, we do it Thursday, by Monday, everything's up and reviewed, and then it's on the websites. More timeliness, so that we understand when I'm coming into a February meeting, I got my January minutes
Okay.
under my belt.
All right, so,
All done?
we'll put that resolution under Jim's agenda for next month.
Right.
For my minutes to be done in 48 hours.
Well, we'll discuss that, but
Yeah,
let's
yeah, we'll
bring them,
discuss it.
we'll bring that resolution under.
2015-22.
48 hours, I don't think it's,
That's not realistic.
that's not realistic.
No, it's like
Yeah.
over the,
All right.
let's
Can we,
You gonna make a motion, we're gonna...
make a motion to
exec-
go into executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
all right.
Regarding,
Oh, yeah, what are we doing?
Regarding deputy
Regarding-
police chief contract? Oh, go ahead.
We're
No,
going
Deputy Police Chief contract
I'm
and
sorry.
patrol officer.
regarding personnel for, the advertising of police officers, a police officer, deputy police chief contract, and what was the other one again?
That's it.
That was it. Those were the two.
I gather you...
We don't need anything on that.
Excuse this evening?
Thank you very much, have a great day, see you
We
later.
make the motion?
Enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Yeah, we made the motion, like, Christopher.
Thanks, Mike.
And I'll see you guys Monday night.
Yes.
For stimulating conversation.
Lieutenant.
What's Monday night?
Yes. That's we have a sewer subcommittee.
Oh.
That was Bob and Frank.
Yeah.
So... There it is.
Gotta stop this.
Yeah, she stops like 50 minutes.
Cramping my style.
I'm gonna request to see that over there.
And the attorney will say that.
Remember for executive session at 10:56 PM, where we discussed two matters, police personnel matter and a matter dealing with the deputy chief position. No official action was taken. Copies of these minutes will be available at such time as the committee determines there is no harm to the public interest.
Motion to adjourn?
No, that's the motion.
I still have to make my motion, right? First motion is to authorize the attorney to take the action as discussed in executive session.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Varsity?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
That was no.
Yeah, it was enough for what?
You know.
Second motion is to authorize the attorney to take the action as discussed in executive session regarding the second issue.
I'll second that.
Kenya?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Marqueta?
Yes.
Varsity?
Yes.
Spencer?
No.
Don't shut that off.
I'm not.
You got a call for a motion to,
I
adjourn?
know.
Anything else?
Say,
Oh, second.
that's it.
Right, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Wait a minute.